Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 202. I'll just cue the music and the intro, and I'll be with you in a minute. It's gone muggy from the big storm. We just did a big power cut here. Lightning was right over. Hopefully it sounds alright. UPS's saved the day. Down to the underground base. Going down. Hello. Good to be back. Although Mother Nature was trying to stop me. Well, the men in black using the heart to control the weather. The conspiracy theorists out there. Right, so pause that. Hey, Venny. Robert's still up. Good. Past your midnight. There, Robert. I hate you, Renee. Now, be nice on the side. He's only joking, of course. At the channel live stream 202. We're on the way to 300 now. So I wonder who'll be joining us today. Those counters seem to be a bit slow updating now. What time is it where you are? Well, I've got my time on the screen there so people don't have to ask me that. It's 2 PM over here. So I'll be going to probably 5. I've got a few tabs to go through here. So first of all, I suppose we better look at not secure team. He hasn't done anything for a while, thank God. We've got third phase putting out rubbish. Renee loves them though. I suppose if you like looking at CGI stuff and staged events with their new camera, they're the channel for you. Although I call them like the comedy channel. I don't think anyone watches them takes their stuff seriously, surely. Well, Renee does, maybe there's a handful of people. But yeah, you can see they've got all these thumbnails here. So let's see, which one should we start with? I'll start with the new camera. Better see if it all works. So they've bought a color thermal I don't think it's thermal. Color night vision camera. Remember, you talked about the new ones that come onto the market about a year ago now. The Sony chips produced some new chips for the CMOS sensors, which are a lot faster, and now they're able to do more processing on them and extra filters, and they can sort of use it on full spectrum cameras now. And now they're using them for security cameras, so they got wider spectrum. They got some ultraviolet and some in infrared ranges. So that's quite good. That'll be good for UFO hunting, but you can see the quality of what they're putting up here is not terribly that great, because it's still overexposed when it comes to bright lights. Okay, we better check the volume for this playback here. Too low probably. 240. Oh, that'll do.
Alright, we're just getting back. See, we don't know exactly what it is.
No,
UFO honey, but
of course you do, but you're just gonna lie. How's the sound going?
we just received this, and while we're out there driving, we noticed this.
Okay, so it looks like he's taking a picture with another camera there too, but we don't get to see that. Okay, it looks like it's all working. Cool bananas. So, did they tell us what they've got here? New camera. So you can see how overexposed it is. Color night vision. You can see here, it's obviously the sea line here with some of the coast going around the outside there. So it looks like it's way near the coast, further away around the corner. But I think they put up a daytime picture. So let's display it. Speed it up so I don't laugh too much at them.
Across the Hamakua coast on the Pacific Ocean, and we're trying to make sense of exactly what was filmed. Brent and I were out on the road, and we noticed a big glowing object on the coast. We had the Cyanox camera. We just received it, and thank God we did, because this was captured around 9 o'clock at night. And what we're looking at is infrared color vision from the Cyanox technology right now, and we're going to be sharing that with you a little bit about UFO honey. But we just received this, and while we're out there...
Oh yeah, so Cyanox camera. Have they put it in the tab here to promote, so they get some commissions from it? It doesn't look like it. So they ain't got an eBay or YouTube or anything. I mean, Amazon linked. Store links. You can buy the t-shirts though. Cyanox camera. Color night vision. See if we can find it. I'm not sure that's how you spell it. Cyanox. That looks like it might be. So that playing there. So there's a demonstration of it. But you can see even there how overexposed everything is, you know, from car lights. It's not playing any sound, I don't think. So it works in daytime too, by the looks of it. Looks really good. I wonder how much it costs. They probably don't tell you. But you can see even the sparks off fire that picks up. It'll be one of these zero lume cameras, or 0.01 of a lume camera. But you can see here with just the boat lights on the wharf there how bright it is, that you can't actually see what it actually is illuminating. So there's a good example there. Shame we can't pause it though. Look at this. You can't see anything there because of the lights. So it looks like you can get a gun sight. No price, I bet. Shop now. So it's like a handy cam almost, isn't it? So that's what some of these sky watches need, eh? So where's the price? Comes in a nice little kit there. Anyway, we better play the video a bit further. So now we know what the technology they're using there. So what are they saying down here? Yep, John, how's it going? John plugging his channel there. Robert's still there. We got 7 watching already. What's going on? Let's play these UFO tools, as I call them.
Driving, we notice this glowing green luminescent massive object just
really
hovering
massive.
above the sea. We don't know
Could be
exactly
harbour
what it
lights.
is, but we want to share with you the video. Just take a look at this.
Yeah. Oh, that music just makes me want to puke.
We're trying to get positions. Brent's driving. I'm telling him where to go, and we're trying to get the best
We
shot.
just saw a demonstration of it, mate.
The night vision Synops technology is incredible. It picks up whatever is out there, and we can see illuminating, glowing mist around this massive object. Brent, you were there. Yeah, that's when it got really cool. We got a good look at it, and then all of a sudden it got this vibrant green light around it, and it did this amazing halo around whatever it was. It was so bright we basically couldn't even see what this object was. Look at this thing.
No.
It's approximately, I'm wanting to put my finger in front of.
Talk about sensational rubbish. So we just saw a demonstration of it here, and I don't think we can tell what it's going to be. I think even a 100-watt light bulb would probably be too bright to see what they're actually connected to. But you can see that it's clearly on the ocean. Looks like some search is happening. Maybe a Coast Guard ship out there. And so that sort of gives us a clue there. You can see there's a cliff face there. What looks like there. So I did some Google searches on this to see if there's any search and rescue going on, and I'll present that in a minute. So where's their daytime shot here? Was it on this one or the other video? So they drag it out to 10 minutes. Notice that 10-minute mark, so they can cram a little more ads into it. 10 minutes on the dot, right? So they just talk a load of rubbish for 10 minutes. And keep repeating the same footage like they usually do. It's quite good though. You can actually see almost like the clouds, the light from the moon probably, or maybe even city lights that illuminates the clouds there. It's pretty good technology that was finally starting to get. Was that the one that's got the daytime? I don't think so. So we have to look at the other video, I think. So what do you think of that one, guys? Are you impressed that it's a UFO sitting on the sea there, a USO? I don't think so. What are you talking about? Breakfasts here. You're meant to be talking about UFOs. So go to the next video where they use the camera again out their backyard, I guess. Daytime footage. I reckon it's on this one here, is it? Let's have a look. So they filmed something else. So what do we think this one is? Ooh.
And we're shooting this in the Psyonix night vision capabilities, and thank God we have this, because right now, what we just captured over the skies of the Pacific on the Hamako coast is amazing. Listen.
It's colors too. It wasn't that color, and you don't even see it blinking on the thing. Except on the ocean, it seems to pulsate.
This thing just stands still. I'm gonna be amazed, because look how slow this is going.
Do you hear
No
it?
sound whatsoever.
Can you hear background noise here, guys? Because I can.
Oh yeah, it's hitting something. It's searching for something out there.
Search beam.
Why?
Yeah.
Look, it's holding. It's just stalled out there.
Brent was there filming, and I was there.
Talking a load of crap. Yes, we know, Blake. So you can see there, if you listen very carefully when they shut their gobs, that there was some background noise. It sounded like a mechanical noise in the background.
Pacific on the Hamako coast is amazing. Listen.
It's colors too. It wasn't that color, and you don't even see it blinking on the thing. Except on the ocean, it seems to pulsate.
This thing just stands still. I'm gonna be amazed, because look how slow this is going.
You can see the spotlight beam.
Do you hear
No
it?
sound whatsoever. You see the light off the...
Oh yeah, it's hitting something. It's searching for something out there. Why?
Look at this.
Look, it's holding. It's just stalled out there.
Ooh, Britt's gonna have an orgasm. These guys are clowns. So let's see. So it's clearly a search and rescue helicopter out there, and what I did is I tried to stick it through Audacity, and the clip of sound. So I got the sound clip here. So I'll just play that in between where they shut up. Just bring that over there and redirect the sound so we can hear it a bit better. Cable. So this is the clip where there's only silent bit where they're not talking or adding music to it. Oh, crap. I can't hear it now. Why can't I hear it? What have I done wrong? Audio device. Should be that one. Cable. Speakers here. Be this new add-on buggy. Application default down to monitor. See if that does it. Not getting anything. Why? That makes no sense. Alright, just try that again. Still going for the wrong place. Device cable. I'll just reset the mixer. I tell you. Okay, we're back. Yep. Okay. Just getting really muggy in here because of the storm and the hot weather that we're having. Yeah, it was playing yesterday. Cable A. Might just have to do it through the system speakers then. That's stupid. Why is this not working? Maybe if I try this cable that way. Must have been something happened during the storm. Oh well, we'll just have to I'll put up on the system if it will let me. So that's Blake talking, and all the bird noises. Yeah, so it's probably loud enough. So then I isolated the sounds and amped them up. So it'll be really trebly, but you can hear the birds. Then you hear a helicopter. You have to listen to it carefully. It's in the faint background. So then I cut the frequencies to listen to more of the hum noise. Sounds like a helicopter. So there was a kind of a noise you hear when you play the original. That was what I did in Audacity by putting that through the clip through enhancements, equalizer and volume amplification. So the background noises actually become foreground. But I won't go through the process of how I did that. That's just what the end result was. That was a screen snapshot of the thing. See if I can zoom in a bit more. As you see, we can see that's not going to give us any details because it's way overexposed. It looks like on the water we can't even see anything on the water. And you can see the pixels there, right? So there could be something there, something dark on the water there and there probably. It definitely looks like they've illuminated the water there from the light from the helicopter here. Several spotlights probably. But yeah, that's definitely good. And if you keep playing it, you see it takes off, and it's sort of got this angle to it, which a helicopter generally has.
Last night, and you can see it's illuminating the ocean like I've never seen anything do before. That is wild.
Look, it's holding. It's just stalled out there. Blake, do you see that?
It's just comedy, these guys, aren't they?
We're seeing flashes, pulses of light.
Sure, everybody's seen a searchlight on water before, you know. Especially if you live near lakes.
As it pulses off whatever
See,
this
you
object
can
is.
even
And
see the flashing light of the helicopter there.
let me tell you, we didn't see any kind of object whatsoever.
And
no
it looks like a
propellers,
red
no
flashing light.
fuselage, nothing. Just a luminescent light. And as we can see,
okay, you can see the angle of it. It looks like a tail fin, probably going this direction actually. So there you can see the search beam coming down. I don't think we can do much with it, but I'll bring it up. I think Rene said this is a video that they said have a watch. Cool capture. Come on, Rene. What are you thinking? How could you think this is even a UFO? If we can get around all the technical problems that we suddenly got today, we might be alright. Okay. Let's see how we go for the next step. Yeah, there was, I think during the power cut, the second monitor turned off. I think something screwed up the software. Let's see. I don't think it's got a restart option. Oh, that'll screw up things probably. Let's see. Yep, what's it doing now? I'll just see if it's fixed it though. Audio cable. No, still not fixed it. Looks like it's a reboot thing. or totally shut down and restart their application that redirects the sound. But anyway, on with the show. So here's the snapshot we've done. And you see it's tilted with the short search beam coming this way. But can we going to see any helicopter there? It's going to be very hard. It looks like the tail thin bit coming out this way, you see. The searchlights illuminated the whole thing. But it looks like a UFO. Let's try the next step, see how that goes. Resize. Yeah, it looks pretty similar to what we're just looking at. I don't think we can throw filters on it, but we'll give it a go. Brightness. So if you dumb it down, see how much it's illuminated. Yeah, clicking things. Starting to go slow again. I don't think we can see any shape of a helicopter in it. It's just too much light there. Yes, I don't think we can do much with it. And you can see the color ranges that this camera puts in here. So we've got reds, which will be infrared. We've got normal light, and we've got looks like ultraviolet bands there that would be blue, and then mix it together. Probably 3 different filters in the camera. But as you see, it makes pretty patterns, but doesn't really reveal anything. You can make it look more like a UFO. But yeah, no good, does it? Still fun to play around with it though. So I had a search around the web anyway. Did a search to see what I could find, and here we go for the 15th. I think that's when the video was put up. Just reduce that. 15th of November. Obviously, is at night time, so it must be in the night time. So here we got 15th. Talking about a picker swept to sea. I suppose that's a type of boat, is it? OP high picker. What's that? I don't know what that is. It's some type of boat the Hawaiians use, is it? What have we got here? Picker. So it's type of seafood, is it? They pick. These guys are called pickers. Is that what they're saying? Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? The OP shellfish story. There we go. Kind of looks like snails. Okay, so at least we know what they're talking about there now. Swept to sea. So someone obviously got hit by a big wave and carried out by a rip. Another rescued in Hamamakua. Hamakua. So how do you say that before?
Hamakua.
Hamakua. What a strange name. But anyway, rescues are searching today for a missing Picker swept out to sea by high surf. There we go. From the cliffs at Heina near Hunakia. According to the witness, fire department stated the alarm was sounded at 6:36 p.m. So when did they film theirs? 4 hours later. There you go. So there you go. It matches up. So the search and rescue are out there. Where's the link gone? According to the fire department, yep. With first unit on the scene about 45 minutes later. Country rescuers, including both helicopters. So we have got 2 helicopters. Are being assisted by the Coast Guard. There you go. That's what I was talking about. Including a cutter. Oh, there's the lights. Helicopter and a C-130. It's wonder they didn't film that. The search, which was conducted after dark with lights, cameras, and infrared sensors, was hampered by both the lack of light and 15-foot surf. Another fisherman was found along the rocky shoreline at the bottom at a 60-foot cliff and rescued by fire personnel. He was uninjured. So what do you reckon? UFO? No. Obviously search and rescue. And there's another report here showing a map. So that must be where they were filming from, is from one of these curvy bits. Where would they be filming from? Down here, maybe? Down further down the map here, on the bend? Because they're on a bend and we can see the coastline going around. So maybe here somewhere? Because we could see that seemed to be near some cliffs. So it could be anywhere around here, I guess. But it sort of matches up. I think there's a daytime picture they do later on in this. Let's see. Might be up here. Here we go. So that's where they're filming from. What a mess. So, would have been out here. But we could see more of a landmass out here, couldn't we, before in the dark? Maybe it was low cloud. But definitely it was in this area here. I suppose we could overlay it probably. It's one that can see anything, really. So I think it's probably good enough to bunk for those two anyway. I'm not going to waste time on overlaying it, I don't think. So we can see edge of a tree here. There's the edge of the tree. Daytime. Oh, they moved the angle, you see now. See, that's a different angle again, isn't it? Well, that looks like the house, so it's vertically to the house in that daytime picture. Whereabouts it was here. So here's the house. So it was out here. You can see it's on the sea anyway. So what's the next one? Apparently they found a USB stick. Let's see. I'm a bit flustered with that problem that we're having here. And the humidity is just a killer. Might have to put the fan on. The other one is this USB stick which they claim Google deleted, or the government took it down. Whereabouts is it? Uploading this video could get you YouTube channel. So let's start there, I guess. And we'll get these clowns out the way with, and then we'll move on to the better stuff.
Thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase Moon. Everybody's asking the question, what happened to our last video? We have people from around the world, hundreds of emails via our last post of what is described to be some sensitive information in regards to the secret space force that possibly existed 100 years ago. You may have seen the video that we uploaded November 11th, 2019, and it was going viral. Everybody was watching it. People were actually saying this could be the best evidence ever, and people are scratching their heads. Where did it go? Why isn't it on Third Phase of Moon? And yeah, we got the answers for you, and let me tell you, we've been doing this for years. When we title the videos, as you see them, like, watch it now before it's too late. Well, sometimes
look, spud cam footage, good stuff.
It is too late. And you've seen some of our videos taken down on YouTube for no apparent reason, and it has happened.
This terrible and fake, obviously. They're back to the CGI stuff again. Photoshops.
Again, this might be too sensitive, too hot to.
Oh, I've got skim.
Yeah,
started off.
Yeah, thanks, Blake. Yeah, good introduction on that, giving a little breakdown of what happened today. We woke up earlier this morning, and we found out through a few emails that came in that the story of the USB stick that was apparently found with this sensitive information was a bogus story. Apparently, the original source sounds like they don't want the disclosure to be disclosed. They're holding on to the material, and unfortunately, Third Phase of Moon was forced to remove this content. Yeah. It is devastating to even come across this kind of scenario when you're trying to just put out the news. And we felt that we were doing it in a fair use and a news breaking story. And it certainly was. And that's exactly what we did. But we can't really go into details.
Gullibles. Come on, Gullibles.
Can be sensitive. We've been dealing with this for years. Some of the information that we're bringing on Third Phase of Moon deals with highly, possibly classified information. We're not here trying to leak it. It's just real people shooting things, or real people releasing.
It looks like stuff from Mr. Ed again, isn't it? Through windows, all out of focus. But yeah, I think we got some close-up images. So what is that meant to be? A whistle? I reckon they're like little models or car models, and all sorts of different kinds of plastic toys of some sort. That looks like a squid, they picked off the sea, isn't it? Not squid, a shrimp. It looks like a shrimp. Shrimp in space. Eh? And we buy those to eat, they're nice. Australia has really nice shrimps, king prawns, they're called. And they're about that size too. Delicious. But yeah, it looks like a king prawn, that one. So let's go through, I guess. Looks like the storm's finally passed too. King prawn, Australia. Don't forget in other parts of the world though. Images. So let's get a side profile. Here we go. There's a king prawn. I suppose you flip that around. Get one in the right direction. Come on, just a single one. Oh, in the wrong direction. Oh, here we go. That one's been cooked because it's orange. When they're green when you get them, and when you cook them, they turn orange for some reason. Changes the pigment. So yeah, it looks like a shrimp with the tail going around, right? So you know what I'm talking about now. And it looks like an eye. You can see the eye there. Crazy stuff to put up on a UFO channel, but anyway. I suppose you're going to say, well, shrimps might have a mothership out in space or something. I don't know. It's not aerodynamic by any means. And they're filming through what there, Why is it all out of focus? It's just rubbish, isn't it? So where's the other one I saw that they had up that had even more stuff on it?
Yeah, code and the embedded metadata on this video is being basically checked out real quick. It's being flagged.
White. I might just have to put that fan on. Where's the other video with the more pictures? Have they taken it down already? Let's have a look. Could be this one here. Now, how many times have they put up videos that said watch it before the government takes it down? Lots of times, and if you probably can find it if you go and search their channel. We'll do that in a minute. You'll probably find all those ones are still up, unless they deleted it because Google demonetized them. Because they have been deleting videos that losing monetizing. I'll just go and turn on the fan. I'll be back in a tick. Alright, here we go. Alright, it feels a bit better. So we're going to see what else we can see in this. Hopefully the audio is still working. Looks like it. Every time I take the headset off, I've got to check. So this is the other one. Yep.
So we're not going to shut it down. So we're going to commentate on everything.
What? Oh, you can do it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Okay.
That happens here, and let's take a look at what's
So what are
going
we
down.
looking at here?
So
Looks
the footage
like,
that we're looking at, and
the
we've
Disney
only had a short time to
castles.
look at, is some ships that are hovering over some of the planets that we know of in our solar
Notice
system.
the artificial fading in and out on the video. What's it look like? Last one was a shrimp.
From the moon to Mars to Jupiter, and what we're looking at definitely isn't part of the space program that we're aware of, and the authentic footage is incredible to
It looks like the shrimp attached to a piece of stuff
Even-
again, doesn't it? It's got that shrimpy thing.
fathom if this
Shrimp.
is real legit footage, because what we're looking at looks to be just about 100 to 150 miles above
Looks like a shrimp and a penis, to tell the truth.
the surface of Mars, and some kind of craft, and you can see
Looks like a
that
sex
somebody's
toy.
filming within a ship and looking outside. And what we're looking at
So it could be a collection of bits and pieces used
defies
for
what the history
fishing.
books is telling us right now.
Yeah, everything matches.
They used to use car parts for their fakes. It's just a Batmobile one. I can't believe they put this rubbish on as well, Robert. It's just hilarious, though. It's kind of amusing.
Matches up here. You can tell
So what are we
somebody's
looking
shooting
at
within
here?
a portal. A cabin
Is that the
of some sort of
Batmobile? It looks like the
spaceship.
Batmobile,
And what are they looking at? Some sort
where it's sort of been broken a wee bit.
of orbit.
You remember from one of the movies where he's flying through the city?
Orbiting spacecraft above Mars. It's compelling footage. Some of these portals, if you remember back in the early Apollo missions, they're no larger than maybe 6 to 8 inches. They're quite small. And to get
You
this
can see
vantage
that's
point,
added
I do see
effect to it,
reflection
yeah.
of even dust particles upon the lens of this portal. Look at that.
Did you see that? Like, there's this thrust from underneath the craft.
We're gonna have to
No,
take a
that
closer
doesn't
look at
look
that.
like CGI. I don't know. Is this more of the coelacanth footage? And what the heck is
So
this
we got something else new here. What's that look
chip? It seems that
like? Looks like something from one of those old sci-fis. It's not from an old 50s sci-fi by any chance, is it?
we're looking at something that is unprecedented. And again, we're not going to take any of this anymore.
It's
We're
got
going to
that
keep this
same
video up. Let's just roll
flickering.
it a little bit longer here.
What I like about this is, comparatively to the footage just recently, could these be the 8,000 images that were being talked about that was on USB disk?
Yeah, I don't think we could take much more of that rubbish, can we? So we better move on to some more interesting stuff. So how many views did they get that? 59,000, wow. So what are the idiots in the comments saying about this? They don't want you to know. The only thing that doesn't look real to me is the Saturn footage. I think Saturn's probably the only thing in the whole footage that looks real. Yes. Yes, don't stop showing this and much more. Zombies, humans have been traveling in space for decades. Yeah. Where's your proof? They certainly get into orbit. America can't even fix the road, but they can get to other planets. They can't fix a road. I think they probably can, they just don't want to spend money on it. Slow leak of authentic footage weaved in with deceptive manipulations. This is the beginning of disclosure. Yeah. The most legit footage I've ever seen. Oh my god. I remember watching the space shuttles launch. Now we're everywhere and they won't tell us. Unbelievable. These people probably got lots of money and fund these guys. It's just sad. UFO field is sad. Sad people. I can't believe anyone watches them, but I have to for save you having to do it. So just close those suckers down. I was going to check, wasn't I? Shrimp in space. How about that? I was going to check, see how many ones I got to watch before it's deleted. So use the search here. Deleted. Let's see what comes up. Share before they delete. Which one's that? 1 year ago, so it hasn't been deleted. This video shut down. Here we go. Area 51 2 years ago. Still hasn't been deleted. Warning, very scary. Deleted scene. Okay, that's not it. What happened over UK? Where's the delete thing in that though? Can't see the word deleted. Google search is never really good, is it? These frauds, you know, those two faces, David Woodcock's, Corey Good, have been outed by their own TV network, saying that the whole thing's fabrication, and people still watch them. They'd been advertised not long ago, only a few months, or actually a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it, on Third Phase? So where's the deleted in these ones? Maybe it's in the description. Watch before they delete. What's other keyword we can search for? Deleted. Watch. Maybe. They don't want you to watch. 9 months ago. That's still up, and that's what Corey Good again, is it? Yep, Corey Good. What else we got? David Icke. Another fraud. I can't believe Stanton Freeman went on their channel for an interview. He should have known better. But maybe they're a wee bit better in the start when they were doing things. I don't know. But apparently they bragged that they had Stanton Freeman on. Doesn't want you to watch. There we go. 8 months ago. So how many videos have you come across where they've used that? Watch this. You decide. At least 5 or 6 so far. It's rubbish, isn't it? So, yep, totally debunked there. Close tab. So it's a search and rescue, and it went on for a few days, I think. There's still someone missing, I think. Might be a week even. Maybe just looking for a body now. What else we got? Alright, finish with that one. And we finish with that one. I don't know what that is. Crazy stuff. Okay, so what was the next one? Alright, the pyramid stuff. So yeah, this is Michael W. Hall. So I might just get it to read out first before I play the video clip. Obviously, he's in Washington State.
Want to see UFOs? Washington is a popular hangout. Our state is third in nation for alien craft encounters. UFO team says it's nothing to snicker about.
So UFO I-Team. Obviously, it sounds like, was it NAP's UFO news channel, but it's not. And I'm just going to try and eat something while I read this out anyway, without biting my tongue.
Edmonds, the cheesy subject line stood out amid the serious emails that flood the Herald's news tips inbox. Washington top 10 state for UFO sightings in the US, revealed. The press release said Washington has 6,028 reported UFO sightings, ranking third in the nation. California was first, Texas second. What's up with that? The stats were from the National UFO Reporting Center, which details 2 sightings in Everett in September and another in Lake Stevens in August. Yeah, right. It was time for this skeptical reporter to do some investigative journalism of the paranormal kind. I knew just who to ask, UFO buster Michael W. Hall, a crusader for little green men and the people who've seen them. Hall was listening to Christmas smooth jazz when I called his Edmonds home that serves as his alien sleuthing headquarters. He vouched for the credibility of the National UFO Reporting Center, which it turns out is in eastern Washington near an abandoned missile site. Hall knows the guy who runs it out of his home. A Gallup poll of 1,522 adults in the U.S. found that 1/3 of respondents believe extraterrestrial spacecraft are visiting Earth. Crowd signal poll equals 10,447,183. Nowadays it is dead serious stuff, Hall said. It's not a snicker factor anymore. Hall, a semi-retired attorney, started a group called UFO Team in 2017 that has a dozen members in the Snohomish County region. His UFO team of abductees, experiences, and contactees was featured in May 2018 in this column. At that time they met at the Linwood Denny's and live-streamed sessions for those beyond.
So you notice the tone of the reporter here, right? It's sort of mocking the UFO stuff. Talking little green men, and just the tone of the whole article so far is like a mock factor. So let's go and do a report on this guy and sort of make it a laughable joke. But it's quite interesting there. They said, he said that according to their database, California is the first, Texas is the second for the sightings. Now, both of those are surrounded by lots of Air Force bases, right? So, kind of makes sense as well that there'd be more sightings in those locations. And Washington, I'm not too sure what they've got there, but they've probably got also a lot of Air Force bases out that way. Isn't it around the forests there and mountainsides? Washington State. Let's have see what we can find. What we got here? Just below Vancouver. So that's just above California, isn't it? There you go. There's Oregon. Yep, and we've got California down here. So for some reason there's a lot of sightings up this way. You can see probably why. It's surrounded by mountain ranges and also right next to the sea. I don't know if there's any Air Force bases there, but it's bound to be, isn't there? So we've got one, Fairchild. I think we might have covered that one with Robert, UFO cases. at some stage. A nuclear base, wasn't it? McCloud. Is it? Oh, it doesn't say. It's an Air Force base though. Oh, it must only be one up there. Oh. We're at the top of the state there, next to the mountain ranges. Yeah, so we got a rough idea where they're looking at. Okay, so just read out the rest of this here, and then I'll show you the video they got here, which is quite interesting. Stop it scrolling so fast.
No time or need for pancakes anymore. We have become so busy in the community doing our stuff, Hall said. Hall, 67, had bariatric surgery and lost 150 pounds. He traded his field vest affixed with his badges, telescope, compass and other alien bling for a nice blazer and Indiana Jones fedora. I've upgraded my look, he said. He claims strange stuff has happened to him, scoop marks, roundish punch biopsy scars on his legs in 1991, an inflamed bump on his shoulder after he sighted a UFO over his house in 2012. He suspects he has been abducted. I've had some experiences of missing time, he said. Who hasn't?
So he's quite old now. So he's had contact. So we're starting to hear a lot of people in the UFO field do have contact from aliens at some point if they're big into it. Big researchers. Yeah, it's quite a long article actually. So that's the video I'll play in a minute of the pyramid UFO.
UFO team member Mary Kennedy, an Arlington graphic designer, said she saw a UFO in Idaho and remembers being taken from her room by small beings. I consider it an abduction, she said. Why else would they come and get me out of bed and lead me out of the house? Years later she said she saw a beam directed at the car and something circled with orange lights hovering off to the side of the road. The group validates her beliefs. I like the different viewpoints the members bring, she said. Everybody's got an open mind and is willing to go out in the field. Several members recently met to scope out restricted airspace over Seattle-Tacoma International Airport after seeing photos of unidentified flying objects. It is unmistakable there is something weird going on down there, Hall said. I've been in this business long enough to know what's important and what's not. They didn't find anything there. Not with the naked eye, but we're still in the process of reviewing the hours of video we took. In September he went to Alien Stock, a 5-day alien-themed music festival in the tiny desert town of Rachel, Nevada. The fest originated from a viral Facebook joke about storming the military's classified site Area 51, where some claim the government is warehousing crashed UFOs and possibly aliens. A few million people pledged to attend Storm Area 51 and Bud Light sponsored it. I was just a little too young, 17, to go to Woodstock in 1969. I wasn't going to miss it this time, Hall said. Not sure how much 3 days of sex, drugs and rock and roll has in common with 5 days of aliens and light beer, but no matter. It turned out to be a phenomenal event, Hall said. Only a few thousand people showed up, with many of them being media. No known extraterrestrials made an appearance. Duh. Nevada didn't make the UFO Center's top 10 list, or even the top 25. It had fewer sightings than Connecticut, according to the site, which makes no claims to the validity of the information in reports. What makes Washington so UFO-friendly? We are very lucky. We are peppered with many mountain volcanoes to watch the night skies, Hall said. We are never skunked when we go with our night vision and flare photography. The gear keeps getting better. A guy on our team has invented a pair of high-powered binoculars that he can point to the night sky and capture any light source, a star, the International Space Station, meteor or a commercial airline flight, and he can turn that light frequency into sound. It can be used to eliminate those normal known things to track anomalies that don't match any signature, he said. Are you following all of this? There's more.
Now, why would you want to convert it to sound? Light frequency to sound. That probably makes screechy sounds. I suppose if you want looking at the screen and you want to get like a alert signal when something appears on the video or camera screen, could be quite handy, I guess. Of course, this is a fairly new article, wasn't it? When was it published? Not too long ago, November the 9th, 2019. So it's fairly new. So you can see it's a female reporter that's sort of laughing at it here. But this last bit here to read out.
Hull said it can be used to transmit back to the source, to show aliens that we can see them and recognize their frequency. It's what Hall and his ilk refer to as close encounters of the fifth kind, or human-initiated contact, which is also what the UFOLOGY team gives its members.
So they're transmitting the sound through the speakers, thinking it's communicating back to UFOs. If anything, UFOs probably use light to communicate, wouldn't they? Sound doesn't make sense. So if you're out in space, you would shoot a laser beam between ships, transmit data that way, wouldn't you? A bit like fiber optics. Send it through the pulses of the laser. So if anything, they should transmit it back into like a pointer pen. But yeah, suppose you could try different experiments. I know there was that TV show. What was it called now? Alien Highway. They did something similar to that. He was playing music and it was changing the lights patterns, a bit like Close Encounters did, with the he was doing something crazy on an episode. It never did anything though. But yeah, I suppose you can try things. And so he's actually a big fan of the Maury Island thing that Robert and I covered once, and we found pros and cons to the story, and there was more cons than pros to the story, which made it sort of sound like it was possibly hoaxed. But as all these UFO cases are, they often say, isn't it? Regardless if you can say it's a hoax or not, there's still people going to say it's been covered up or misinformation put in there. So people lose interest in the story, which is all possible, of course. But there's obviously going to be some hardcore facts. So we might recover that one again, because we did that back when we had Hangouts and it corrupted the episode graphics. So Robert and I might go over that one again and do it a wee bit better than last time we did it, hopefully. So I'll just play this video clip here now. Unfortunately, I can't speed it up or change the volume on it, so let's see how it goes. Auto quality. I suppose we'll stick with the auto. Scroll it back. Now, I don't know if it's on YouTube.
Really nice being in this group because a lot of us are abductees.
Or experiencers.
Or experiencers, right.
Or contactees.
Or contactees, maybe. But it's good because I can bounce stuff off them and they understand it. They understand the feelings, they understand the stress, the anguish, and everything that goes along with it. They know about it too. And in a lot of cases, our stories have similar pieces. And so it's really good for us to hear about the similarities in our abduction scenarios.
Yeah, I've had experiences over my lifetime. I've seen UFOs, and I've had numerous dreams about seeing craft, and I have a memory of being taken from my room a few years ago by children at 2 in the morning. There is enough evidence out there for the people willing to research it that it's impossible to ignore anymore. This is not some fringe thing. This is something that's going on, and that we should acknowledge it. And possibly we don't wait for the government to come out and say, you know, hey, there's UFOs, although they have started doing that. I think it comes from us, the average citizens, the people that are having the experiences. I think we're the ones that need to bring about disclosure rather than depend on our governments, because that's just not happening in a realistic way or on a good time scale. It's a screen memory of small beings, and in my memory they were children, and yeah, took me from my room. They took me to the head of the stairs, and I looked down, saw the door was open, and there was a woman standing in the doorway. The whole time they were getting me up and making me walk out of the room, I was protesting, saying, no, you can't be here, you gotta leave. And then when I got to the top of the stairs and I saw the woman in the doorway, I said, these kids can't be here, they have to go. And she said that all of them could go but one. And then that was the end of my memory. There was one time where I woke up quite suddenly feeling like I had been dropped from about 2 feet up on my bed. I remember waking up feeling like I had just landed on my bed 50 feet up. I had no explanation for that.
Number 7.
So you've often heard people being teleported up through the ceiling. So obviously, she's saying that she felt being dropped down to the bed, which kind of makes sense. But I wonder how aliens pick who they abduct. You know, do they just pick people at random? And if they get abducted again, it means they got the right DNA or blood type or what? It's kind of a mystery, isn't it? And obviously aliens don't go by good looks, right? So they don't go after all the hot chicks and decent looking people. But are these people sound mind? I suppose a lot of people would say they're not. So yeah, we just got to take their word for it, and they seem really credible to me, way they're talking there with the body language, and whatever they experience to them it's real. So yeah, so this guy's going to talk about the pyramid sighting now, I think. Let's see.
2016. She and the grandkids saw 2 triangular UFOs, I guess near Harvey Field in Snohomish.
Wow.
And she actually contacted NARCAP, and actually I think she spoke to Peter Davenport, so she told me. And he told her to go out there the next week and film if she sees anything. And sure enough, on the 14th, a week later, she got a really good, she got like 3 videos of these 2 triangles.
It's happening, but people who aren't interested don't know.
So where's those videos? That's what I want to know.
And what happened during those 4.5 hours?
Well, that's kind of personal.
Okay.
Anyway.
But it changed your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously.
Absolutely. You cannot be an experiencer and not end up searching for what the hell everything is about. You know, what's God? What is spirit?
What's he doing? Interviews in there.
And there's lots of answers out there, and they're all basically the same answers, whatever the source.
Do people believe you when you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Actually, a triangular pyramid. You don't get to see triangular pyramids very often. This one is up in Glacier, Washington, actually. And a biker, Harley Davidson biker guy, explained about that sighting. Mr. X was...
So I tried to search for that and I couldn't find any information on that particular case. So I'll probably be re-looking again in databases, see if I can pin it. But he's talking about a biker, Harley Davidson biker. So that's got to be some unique sighting there. So I think the next guy explains what actually happened.
Riding along the Nooksack River one evening, and lonely road up in the mountains, out near the Mount Baker, and from over his left side there was what he thought a meteor at first. So because he wasn't looking directly at it, that passed over him. He jumped off his Harley Davidson and looked over the river and discovered that this craft was spinning like a top over the river. It slowed down, and when it slowed down, he saw that it was golden with lights moving all around the edges of everything, right over this river, right above the tree line. And then from underneath of this pyramid, this golden pyramid, come these tentacles that suck water out of the river with lights like drawing it up through these 3 tubes, and then it withdraws them back into the craft again after about a minute, and starts moving off, and then it takes off over about 2 seconds in like a zigzag pattern, and heads and disappears over the mountain, at which time Black Hawk helicopters come chasing towards that direction after it's already long gone, about a minute later. And he's out in the middle of the street jumping up and down screaming, "Somebody witness this with me!" And the mink farm that was nearby, the lights came on, but he figured they just thought some madman was screaming in the middle of the road and were afraid to come out. So he didn't get to witness this with anybody.
The federal.
So what's interesting is I couldn't find any information on this, and this happened in 2016. So we'll have to keep hunting for it. I'll try and contact this guy maybe and get him to come on and talk about it, and other pyramid cases maybe. But it's hard to get people coming on, right? So we have to do it ourselves. You can't be the most hated UFO channel and have people come on and actually talk about real UFO stuff. Normally they plug the books and want to plug the movies and stuff. But this guy's has been on Martin Willis' show, and they do an interview, so I'll post a link to that in a minute.
Government of the United States has actually admitted to the existence of UFOs. The UFO I-team, yeah.
I suppose the I means investigation team, right? UFO investigation team. So, yeah, wasn't too bad, but still, all they got is a drawing, and the guy didn't take a picture. Obviously, he's got a Harley Davidson, and hasn't got a smartphone with a camera. But didn't they say there was 3 videos taken by someone else, another pyramid, early on in that report, Devonport or something? It sounded like a different case, so maybe something different going on there with the pyramid UFOs, because I never heard of pyramid UFOs before. Triangle UFOs, but pyramids, where it's on the angle, doesn't make any sense. Would have to have sides on it to call it a pyramid, so they would say it was a triangle. But yeah, I'll post a link to that there. Go and replay it if you want to. And hopefully we don't get done for copyright there. I did pause it and talk about it, and that I can verify those cases they were talking about. But yeah, why would you not interview those without all that background noise? It's kind of sloppy, really, isn't it? Wait till they finish the mill and then go into a place where you can interview them. So this is the guy 67 on Martin's show, which wasn't too long ago. Obviously July, is it? 2019. But the other report we just looked at was obviously the newest one. And what is this guy? I'll just read it out here. It Sounds like he's done quite a lot. Like it. I don't know where the information's from, but it's obviously something that he's written up.
Michael W. Hall, JD, is a former Superior Court Judge Pro Tem, certified mediator, and the founding partner of the Hall law firm. P.S. Michael received his bachelor's degree, BA, in 1976 from the Edward R. Murrow College of Communications at Washington State University in broadcast journalism, and a Doctor of Jurisprudence in just 2 years from Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles in 1987. He has taught legal seminars and conflict management courses for the Washington State Bar Association and the Boeing Management Association, and currently maintains a general legal and estate planning practice in Seattle, Washington, where he also finds time to serve as pro bono legal counsel for various local and national non-profit organizations. With a lifelong interest in UFOs/UAPs and phenomenology, being an experiencer himself, Hall has served as a field investigator for the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, APRO, in 1974, legal counsel for the National UFO Reporting Center, NUFORC, since 1995, a research associate and attorney for the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomena, McCullin, since 1999, as well as a long-time consultant to the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, since 1995. Additionally, Hall has been the attorney of record for such noted ufologists and researchers as Grant Cameron, Peter Davenport, Dr. Richard Haynes and Dr. James Harder. The UFO Team. Hall is also the founder and director of the UFO Team, an experienced group of highly educated UFO/paranormal field investigators who travel to anomalous hotspots around the world by plane, train, bus and local ride-sharing services to investigate UFO, Bigfoot, ghosts and other strange paranormal activity. Using their wide-ranging expertise and the knowledge of their ex-military and retired government SAT/phone scientific consultants, the UFO Team's goal is to uncover whatever truth there is out there and to red pill the public about UFO disclosure and other emerging issues of phenomenology, including the alien presence on Earth and the swiftly approaching paradigm shift in consciousness, which connects everything.
Sounds very Grant Cameron type stuff there, isn't it? Consciousness. So he's a consultant to MUFON, but doesn't mean he's actually a MUFON member, or was a MUFON member. Doesn't say that there, does it? So he might be like Mark D'Antonio. He's a consultant, video analysis consultant. Probably an honorary member, right? So they don't have to pay. But yeah, looks like he's called the paranormal lawyer. So he's not just UFOs; he's also ghosts, which I think is a good thing, and also Bigfoot there. So yeah, it's obviously well intelligent and experienced person. So this interview is probably a good one to listen to. What he has to say. If you've not heard it already. It goes on for almost 2 hours here. But we probably play a clip from it to see what they're saying here.
Clear. 3 minutes, gentlemen.
3 minutes. Okay, thank you. So we're still live. We're still live on YouTube. And so I just going to start the timer right here. So I know we'll probably get back into this, when you and I are going back on the regular show. But I did want to ask you about the amount of sightings out in Washington. Now, I know, of course, 1947, the very famous starting out there is at Mount Rainier, I believe.
Yeah, and actually we had even one before then. That was the modern day UFO thing. 2 weeks before Mount Rainier, there was Maury Island.
Oh, yeah. But
that's
been pretty much proven a hoax, I believe.
No, it wasn't. It was actually proven that the guy said it was a hoax to get everybody off his back. There was so many people involved with that thing that the issue. Matter of fact, I know the two guys that put together the Maury Island incident film. One of them is an attorney friend of mine, Steve Edmondson and Scott Schaefer. Really good researchers and stuff, and they come up with a whole scenario of how that thing happened. And this guy's life was just ripped to shreds by the first men in black, by the way, that showed up, and threatened him and his family. And his son actually disappeared for 2 weeks, kidnapped his son, his 14-year-old kid. So you can imagine why he was pretty much done with the thing after the initial sighting. He said whatever they want him to say.
Well, I will. I'm going to have you school me a little bit more on that. We'll communicate through email, but I'd like to know more of why you think that's, that really happened with.
Me and Robert covered that one in great detail, and it was a real messy case for sure. But what else do they talk about here?
Basically, the idea that if it's a core secret, you can't even really acknowledge it. So what happened with Eric Davis and Hal Puthoff, by the way, both of them responded to inquiries about whether this memo and the Willard Miller letter were true and correct. They both.
So they're talking about the Wilson leak, right? The documents here. So if you want to go and listen to what he has to say about it, but yeah, I think they're fake documents myself. Did I post that? I did, yes. And there's also on here, they call him the Paranormal Law with Michael W. Hall. So what's this one talking about here? So he's all over the web. Spaced Out Radio. Probably can't play it. So they're talking about latest talk about Area 51 storm and Michio Kaku's latest talk about UFOs that the government have to prove they're not real. So yeah, same old stuff, right? So if you want to have a listen to that, you can as well. I'll just post the link. So that was quite recent too, September last month. So I'm not sure how it plays. I guess it embeds a little player. I prefer YouTube videos myself. I think they do have a YouTube channel though, don't they? So it might be on there. Some people would like to download them or just play it and listen to in the car as they're driving. What's the next one? Alright, I was going to look at some technical stuff. I'll just break it up a wee bit. So what is lens flare? Okay, so on a smartphone, there's quite a lot of bits on your camera. You can see here, it's inside of a smartphone, one of these things. It's all in there, the circuit board gets into the phone, but inside the little thing there is the camera and the circuit. This thing here, CMOS sensor. And what's at front of it? So there's a CMOS sensor here, and all this lenses, which are made from glass, clip on the front of the camera. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. And you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lenses, right? So that's 6 pieces of glass that's going through. There's the square bit that we saw here. Plus there's a front protector bit here as well. So that's 7 bits of glass, or some type of glass anyway. I don't think they would use plastic on the front, unless it's some unique plastic, like Perspex, that don't scratch. I'd say it'd be hardened glass, where it's got a higher content of other stuff in it, so it doesn't crack, and can be dropped and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's where the problem starts with all these lenses. And I've talked about it before, about research on meta lenses, which are not using glass. They're using titanium rods, of all things, that bends the light towards the sensor. And they have like thousands of these titanium rods at nanometer distances that sort of are like little prisms that reflect the light that comes in through the hole at the front here, and sends it onto the CCD or the CMOS sensor. Now I'm just looking at 3 lenses from that 7 one on the smartphone. This is one example of how you can aim it at the sun, and what happens is not all the light passes through one of the lenses, and it bounces back and hits the back end of the first lens and creates a little circle of light, which then obviously goes straight through the middle here onto the camera sensor that was that little square one at the back, that one there, which is that thing here. So as the light falls on it, it detects it as another object when it's not really there. It's actually just a reflection because the light's so strong. Now you've probably seen lens flare on cameras. Lens flare image. Let's see if we can find a photograph. Or in the video. Probably animated gift would be a good one. But here you can see we've got multiple reflections. That's probably all the lenses it's passing through as it's going towards the sensor, right? That's bouncing back a wee bit more of each sensor as it's going through, and you're getting a little reflection of the sun, but not as bright. So normally you just get one on smartphones. You normally see one, but the right angle you probably could see it like that. Just another example there, and another one there. And you can see here, this one even lights up the edge of the glass lens here, causes a reflection on the outer edge. It depends if it's zoomed and stuff, right? I suppose there might be a video that we could play. A video is always better because you can see the person moving around in the lens flare. I think it's important people understand how this stuff happens, you know, and once you understand how technology works, then you can see artifacts and discount them. Why does it come up with that? Okay. I suppose a lot of these will be how-tos and examples. Probably not free to play, of course. Let's see. Does any of those look safe to play without getting some crazy copyright claim? Lots of it's talking about how to add one. Why would you want to add a lens flare? I suppose to create fake videos. Lens flare example. Here's one that we could probably play. Oh no, that's just talking about FX there, so maybe it's not a real one. Sample lens flare. There we go. Japanese person, is it? Oh no, what's that? Ski. That must be Polish or something. Here we go. There's a lens flare. This little dot as he's moving it around. So you've got the sun reflecting off the glass. So the sun's coming in, reflecting off the glass, and creating a imaginary image of something that's not there. Because a lot of people submit stuff like this to MUFON, saying they're getting a green blob sitting in the sky when they're aiming their camera at the sun, and it's just crazy that they don't understand the basics. So there you go. Not the best example. I've seen a lot better ones, but yeah, you can see it's just like a small version of the sun. And of course, people take photographs and also get them in photographs, obviously better quality because it's on 12 to 20 megapixels, right? I think that's probably clear enough how it sort of works. I have got some other articles here, but you can see that's a fairly good article there of the inside of the camera, basic hardware. So I'll just post a link to that if anyone wants to read that. So you can see there they didn't have any telephoto on the smartphones. So there's no way to, because it's built flat, right? So it's like all one piece. This bit here, there's no sort of like bit sticking out that you can turn to get optical zoom by changing the alignment of the lenses inside here. Moving one up and down changes the magnification. I know there's some phones that do have 3 magnification using electric motor. So maybe that will be like the norm. Maybe we have 30 times zoom, which they really need optical zoom, especially because everybody's using them for UFO hunting now. So I posted that link there for you. There's another one here, breaking it down a bit more to what I've said. This picture's meant to have a lens flare, so this is a photograph, obviously high quality, and you can see the sunbeam coming through here through the trees. Little circles that are reflecting back on the previous lens, and he's amped it up, or zoomed in I should say, and you get the streaks as well. Flare can take many forms. This may include just one or all of the polygon shapes, bright streaks, or overall washed out look of Whelan flare shown above. So the sun's obviously up here, out of shot. So why would you get streaks? I suppose it depends on the angle, right? So instead of it being a nice circle, it's being stretched out, or catching the edge of the lens. So we really need to get away from using glass. We need to look at these meta lenses, if they can perfect it. Unfortunately, they're having a bit of problem using full spectral thing. They can do it on infrared and ultraviolet, but I'm not sure if they can do it for the full spectrum. But yeah, I think they'll keep on playing around with it until they get it right. So what's that one there talking about there? Actual image, angle of view, stray light. So it's talking about where you get light. I suppose that's where the streaks ones happen. Depending if it's on the edge of the lens coming in, it looks like it creates an image on the edge. And they talk about using these strange hoods on the camera lens to stop the light getting on the edge of the lens. Petal lens hoods, right? And so only light can travel past the hood there, rather than right on the edge of the lens. Wide angle lenses, it's talking about various things here. So yeah, I'll post a link to that too if you want to have a read of all that. And then this camera lens flare. But I think the little diagram that I had before explains it pretty good. Hello, Ali, how's it going? You keep losing Wi-Fi signal. Yeah, that's why I don't like Wi-Fi, that's why we connect to cable. The key is to be no more than 2 meters away from your router and Wi-Fi, and make sure there's no microwave oven running, because that will always interfere. Can't get on side chat, but you're on side chat now. Yes, so did you see the interview with the contactees? You probably like that little video clip that we played. There we go for time, 1.5 hours. Okay, good. So we got the strange thing about lens fungus. Has anyone actually heard of that term? So you think you buy a brand new camera, right, and it can be just perfectly fine in your cupboard or whatever, but apparently not. Fungus is little microscopic spores, right, nano size, that can travel into air vents and gaps on your devices and actually start growing inside your camera. So this guy said here he's discovered that a tiny amount of fungus is growing inside my Canon 1000mm macro lens. I should have found it sooner. Lens fungus. It looks pretty horrible, look. It's like little filaments. What's it say here? I'll just get it to read out.
Lens fungus contamination is caused by a combination of moisture and dust containing fungus spores that can get inside your lens's interior elements. Some dust gets inside every lens, especially if it's a lens that isn't fully weather sealed like the very expensive professional models. The dust specks are usually not a problem by themselves. However, add a little moisture and very bad things can happen.
Okay. This one of the worst cases of lens fungus I have seen. When moisture gets inside your lens, either because of direct moisture exposure like rain, or simply because of very high humidity, which is what we've got here at the moment. So it makes you wonder what goes on inside your laptop as well. Of course you've got skin flakes as well, get sucked in by your fan. I don't know if anyone's opened up a PC and seen how much dust builds up, which 90% dead skin from us. Apparently in our lifetime we shed our body weight in skin in our lifetime, which is quite a lot of skin cells when you think about it. And the bacteria and fungi, the bacteria that eats it, what they called, dust mites, probably enjoy all that. So what's it saying here about the condition of the lens?
An unexpected situation can be created when a lens is exposed to extreme cold and then brought into a nice warm environment, like your own home sweet home. The normal ambient atmospheric moisture inside a cold lens can condense into liquid water droplets or fog on the chilled interior surfaces in the lens. This happens especially when the lens is allowed to warm up very quickly. The best way to control this is to leave the chilly lens in its closed protective case and allow it warm back up very slowly whenever it has been brought inside after prolonged exposure to sub-freezing conditions.
So there you go. Those with the P900s or P1000 out there, you might need a camera case and let it warm up slowly, at least if it's in a case with foam, right? It's less likely to get the moisture, I would think anyway.
Overall, one of the best ways to control moisture is to keep small packets of silica gel desiccant inside the case with each lens. Most new lenses come with a silica gel packet inside the box. Keep it and use it. When moisture does find its way inside your lens, it provides a rich medium for the fungus spores that are often mixed in with dust particles. Remember, the dust was probably already inside your lens. The fungus then begins to grow and it multiplies in a moist environment. If this problem is recognized quickly, a professional lens technician can clean it. However, if it is allowed to multiply over time, it causes permanent etching in the lens coatings. This condition is not usually reversible, and it can permanently affect the image quality of the lens.
So yeah, so here we got some specs on the lens. Obviously it's going to show up as little blurs on the photograph, so that could be another thing for when you take a picture, you probably don't realize that that's there. That's why when you see the smartphone one, they got it sealed in that little square cube, so it doesn't suffer from moisture and fungus. It's all sealed unit. But a normal camera, obviously, is not. Of course, you know, that's the space shuttle, the Hubble telescope had lots of problems, and also the Soho, apparently he's got lint inside the camera that often gets in the way of the sensor. So even though they were super clean, they wear those little white overall things when they're manufacturing stuff for space to make sure there's no dust and hairs and all sorts of things that can get inside the electronics, because once it's in space it floats around, right? So they've got the added clean air thing that they have to use. I suppose they have what, positive airflow, so the air is always going out rather than being sucked into the room. And the front of the lens element, so you can see it's got quite a lot on this here. And now it's talking about the SLR lenses, which is the P900 and all that. So look how dirty that looks. It's when you get a good image at all. So I'll just post a link to that in case you want to reference that. But yeah, and the gel bag inside a carry case is what they're suggesting there, which is kind of awkward, I guess. So I don't know what's inside my camera. I got a camera back in 1998, the first digital camera. I bet it's full of fungus. Probably doesn't take a good picture anymore. They certainly suck the batteries. 4 AA batteries, you could only take like 25 snaps and then the batteries would be totally drained. Crazy. And very costly too. And rechargeables could never get the same sort of voltage, and it would be even less photographs, because they used to be 1.2 volts, not 1.5 volts rechargeables, because they didn't have ion batteries back in that day, lithium ion. So yeah, I suppose I better move on. So what have we got now? Alright, so I did this a while ago about a Venn diagram of ufologists, and I've always sat in the middle. So I've never been a total believer and I've never been a total debunker. There are some ones out there that can't be debunked, and that should be the same with US politics. Everybody should be sitting in the middle rather than attacking each other from the left or attacking each other from the right. So it's just crazy in America, all that sort of stuff. And ufology is no different. It's like a one big crazy political groups in UFO field. So I did this diagram, probably live stream 34 maybe, and I kept a copy of it here. And so the truthers sit in the middle here. So they're not quite a believer and they're not quite a debunker, but they debunk the obvious stuff, like that third phase of the stuff we watched at the start. And we also got the players. Now the players are the ones that seem to be truthers, but they're not. So I've put them at the top here. And what they do is they play each side off. So they play to the believers, and they sort of then do some debunks, but they're not really debunking because they keep switching sides. So an example would be UFO proof. He started this channel being a debunker, one of these guys over here, making fun of Third Phase and Tyler and all that, and Scott C. Warren. And he found that his channel wasn't growing very well, so he decided to team up with Third Phase of the Moon and appeal to the believers, because they're the ones that seem to have all the money and seem to watch all the stuff. If it's not debunking, right? They turn off as soon as you start debunking. Now you saw that there when I had like 7 viewers at the start there. As soon as I started debunking and laughing at Third Phase, 3 of them left because they can't handle the truth that it's all CGI and Photoshop stuff that they're putting up there as UFOs and obvious search and rescue helicopter, as I pointed out. And then you got the hoaxes up here, which again are playing both sides of the field in some aspects. But yeah, obviously they're only interested in fame and also making money from it. But so a player's really like a hoaxer. And the players are the most dangerous ones, I think, out there. So, but yeah, Mick West would be a debunker over here, doesn't believe in UFOs at all. And you got also Scott Brando, and who else? A few other people out there. Phil Klass. Who else? Dunnan would be there as well. And you'll see that they ignore some of the evidence as well to push a debunk. Not all the time, but some cases they do. Like Tic Tac, they will ignore the eyewitness accounts of it being something in the airspace there, where Mick would say it's actually something in the distance and it's actually a thermal signature of a passenger jet. So yeah, when it could be like 2 events that happened, right? That footage could be also what he says it is, but something certainly was happening there, obviously by the eyewitness accounts. But maybe the footage that they've got with the eyewitness account is not what was seen, which is where disinformation comes into this TTSA stuff. Those videos, the gimbal one to me, the Go Fast one, definitely looks like a sort of a drone, but they were saying it was like a bird or something, which is just crazy. Because it even looked like an oval shape, didn't it? The white oval shape. They're saying it's some sort of seagull, something traveling at 200. What is it? 200 miles per hour or something like that. For all that time, I can understand they can glide for a certain amount of speed. Falcon, can do it for a short time, but not for the length of that whole video that was being played. So yeah, I put this one out here, the chart, if you want to go and refer to it. Oh, I'll go back to that one there. That was a good little chart mate, I thought. Venn diagram. Ufologists. So what we need to do on this channel, we need everybody to become a truther, not a believer. And we don't want them to be a total debunker either. So we need to get rid of all the rubbish out there, like Third Phase is putting up with stupid CGI fakes with toys. And that way we can concentrate on the 1% that's left. Well, 1% according to my stats anyway. Some people say there's 25%. Closed on MUFON databases unknowns, but that doesn't really mean they're unknown. It means they may not have enough information, so they just leave. I think they reclassified it as not enough information rather than close it as an unknown, which would make more sense. But I think even Project Blue Book, I think was it Stanton Freeman said there was It went through some of the cases there, and I think it was like 15% were unknowns. and he was saying that they were claiming it was let's see, very low percentages unknowns, and yet their own data suggested otherwise. It was on some video of Stanton Freeman anyway, where he's going over it. And then you got most people saying it's like 5% or less, like Earl Grey would say 5%. But I reckon it's a lot lower than that. I reckon it's 1% out there. And most of those don't have any photographs or video footage. So I posted that, did I? Yeah. Okay, close that one down. So do we talk about this one now? The Schumann resonance thing. So you probably heard on various podcasts lately of this resonance frequency that the Earth has, probably due to the poles. But we've got some blurb here about it. Let's see if it explains it good enough. Perhaps the Earth is assisting us in lifting the veil, initiating us to a quickening in energy, and enable us to see our true nature. So they've got a long exposure image here. Oh, looks like an artist's rendering. And they merged it with a person standing there. That looks of it. So what does it mean? So let's read out some of it, see where we go. So more science. Because, what was it? Someone was saying that, I think it was on UFO we're talking about this. Talking about a comet or meteorite that come into the atmosphere. And it was going in a sine wave pattern, and he said it worked out to be the resonance frequency of the Earth. So is that does it mean it's trying to communicate or all this sort of stuff? So yeah, it might be something to do with it being natural, and the resonance frequency of the Earth was affecting it moving through the atmosphere somehow. So who knows?
What does a spike in the Schumann resonance mean? In 1952, German physicist and Professor W.O. Schumann hypothesized there were measurable electromagnetic waves in the atmosphere that existed in the cavity, or space, between the surface of the Earth and the ionosphere. According to NASA, the ionosphere is an abundant layer of electrons, ionized atoms, and molecules that stretches from approximately 30 miles above the surface of the Earth to the edge of space, at about 600 miles. This dynamic region grows and shrinks, and further divides into subregions based on solar conditions, and is a critical link in the chain of Sun-Earth interactions. It's this celestial power station that makes radio communications possible.
So they're saying 600 miles there, but I think orbit's about 100 miles, isn't it? Let's just work that out. How many miles till orbit? Because you remember the atmosphere of Earth leaks into space, right, and it gradually gets thinner and thinner as it moves further out into space, and then the solar wind knocks it away gradually. So all the helium that's released up into the atmosphere eventually will be lost, I guess. It gradually leaks out into space and then gets blown away. I thought it was 100 miles or something up. Let's see, how far to Mercury, no. 100 kilometers straight up. I think it says here, can planes fly into space? Let's have a look at that one. What's going on? Where's the statement gone? I thought it was there on this particular page, but maybe it was another article. edge of space, maybe type that in. I think it's pretty subjective, what it is. Kármán line, what's that one? Expression, edge of space, let's have a look at that one. So we've got a little chart here. River balloons, 50 kilometers. So planes, we know about 30,000 feet, so they go up to about 20 kilometers. River balloons go up 3 times further, 50 kilometers. Meteorites come in 80 kilometers. And here we go. Kármán line, 100 kilometers. Aurora space station is somewhere in between, 200 kilometers, and there's that 600 mark. I suppose that would be 600 miles, right? And then what we got, exosphere. So that's where the particles get really small from gases that leak into space, 100 kilometers. So it goes all the way out to 100 kilometers, the atmosphere of Earth. Gets less and less though. But orbit is 100 kilometers, there you go. Attempt to define the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. This is important for legal and regulatory measures. Aircraft and spacecraft fall under different jurisdictions and are subject to different treaties. Well, apparently you can't even shoot a camera into space without getting written permission now. In case you film some top secret stuff. Let's see. I think we're pretty much done on that. It's mathematics. Ooh, yucky. Look at that scary stuff. Interpretations. The expression edge of space is often used. For instance, the FA in some of their publications. Conventional 100-kilometer boundary to space, which is often meant to include substantially what's happened there? Lower regions as well. Certain balloon or airplane flights may be described as reaching the edge of space. So yeah, I already covered all that, I suppose. I'll just post a link to that Wikipedia anyway if you want to have a read of that one. So go back to that article, talking about 600 miles. So, right, we need to. What's 600 miles to kilometers? It's a lot higher than what was on that chart, 965. So there you go. Looks like it's debatable, but they're saying it's in between on that chart. Then in that case, so where just above the International Space Station. Above it. So let's go back. So the Aurora is about 100 miles, 100 kilometers, I mean.
In 1954, Schumann and H.L. Koenig confirmed Schumann's hypothesis by detecting resonances at a main frequency of 7.83 Hz. Thus, the Schumann resonance was established by measuring global electromagnetic resonances generated and excited by lightning discharges in the ionosphere. While this phenomenon is caused by lightning in the atmosphere, many are not aware of the importance of this frequency as a tuning fork for life. In other words, it acts as a background frequency influencing the biological circuitry of the mammalian brain.
mammal brain, mammal alien brain, maybe they're meant to say there. That's quite interesting. So, you know how they're talking about HAARP influence in the ionosphere and people getting sick. Well, it looks like our brains and our bodies are really synchronized to the Earth's rhythms, the resonance frequencies of the Earth, and maybe we get sick once we're off planet. So you know how they're talking about astronauts coming back and they can't even stand up and they've got strange sicknesses and stuff. So maybe this is going to be a problem. How would they have to create a artificial resonance in the atmosphere of the space station, or livable space stations that go out into space and just keep on traveling? It looks like there's going to be a lot of research done into this side of things. Stuff that you don't think influences us. So even if you've got like power lines around your house, that's going to change the natural rhythms that you normally are used to, and that can make you sick. But obviously there needs to be a lot more study done into this sort of thing, right? And now we're just bathing ourselves in 3G and 4G and 5G radio waves. All of it's electromagnetic.
As far back as we know, the Earth's electromagnetic field has been protecting all living things with this natural frequency pulsation of 7.83 Hz. You can think of this as the Earth's heartbeat. The ancient Indian rishis referred to this as Om, or the incarnation of pure sound. Whether by coincidence or not, the frequency of 7.83 Hz also happens to be a very powerful frequency used with brainwave entrainment, as it's associated with low levels of alpha and the upper range of theta brainwave states. This frequency has also been associated with high levels of hypnotizability, suggestibility, meditation, and increased HGH, human growth hormone, levels, in addition to increased cerebral blood flow levels, while this frequency is being stimulated.
So that's a mouthful there, isn't it? So you can see how the government might be using this frequency for mind control, hypnosis, yeah, right? Even making you very tired, maybe. Because we're talking about growth hormone here, so it's affecting you, how you grow. So what else is it doing? Cerebral blood flow. So if it controlled the blood flow going to your brain, you get migraines, right? Very interesting stuff. I'll post a link to that down the side. Resonance. Now, Tesla, I'm pretty sure, was onto this as well. And probably that's why he said there was some benefits in charged air, lightning charged air, because it sort of freshens the air, makes the air less polluted. But there may be also other benefits, from the ions as well as the frequencies given off. Can help you regenerate cells and all that sort of stuff. It's quite an interesting side of thing. I'll just call it Res and post the link. There we go. It's quite a big article here, so we'll just keep reading it because it's quite interesting what we're finding out here. And it's talking about the nervous system now, so...
It would seem then that our nervous system can be influenced by the Earth's electromagnetic field. Maybe that's why being in nature has always been so restorative and healing. Disconnecting from a typical city setting by reducing our exposure to crowds, traffic, work, and routine life, and instead getting out in natural surroundings can slow our brain waves down from the aggressive, vigilant, anxious, and impatient states that are seen in higher ranges of beta brain waves to more restorative alpha waves.
So that's probably why it's good to live out in the country. So I'm living out in the country at the moment myself. Although the city's moving out there, especially getting bigger and more houses going up all the time. So this is not really called country anymore. You'd have to move even further away.
On January the 31st, 2017, for the first time in recorded history, the Schumann resonance reached frequencies of 36 plus Hz. It was considered an anomaly when in 2014 this frequency rose from its usual 7.83 Hz to somewhere in the 15-25 Hz levels, so a jump from 7.83 Hz to 36 plus Hz is a big deal. That's more than a 5-fold increase in resonant frequency levels. What does this mean to us as inhabitants of Mother Earth? According to neuroscience, frequency recordings of 36 plus Hz in the human brain are more associated with the stressed nervous system than a relaxed and healthy one.
Okay, so 2014. I can't remember if I was more sick back in those days or not. Does anyone remember what they were doing in 2014? 2014? And 2017. What happened in 2017? So there may be some connection there to everybody's health or mental state, right? I kind of remember I was having trouble remembering things back 2017. So that could be part of it.
It has long been suspected that human consciousness can impact the magnetic field of the Earth and create disturbances in it, and vice versa, particularly during moments of high anxiety, tension, and passion. If you aren't aware that we're living in a time of high anxiety, tension, and passion, then you probably are not aware. In addition to the highly charged political, social, economic, and personal environments of our current time, many people have also been feeling like time is speeding up. This might explain the intense disturbance most of us are feeling at this time in history. Could the drastic rise in frequency have something to do with this?
Well, it does to me. I always said that time seems to be going faster than normal. Especially when you're not working, right? So if you're at home, the day flies past.
As we know from science, the higher the frequency, the more highly diversified the information those frequencies carry. Since we are organic creatures made of matter and susceptible to electromagnetic fields, and because our lives are inseparable from the Earth, then if the Earth's frequency is rising, shouldn't that also raise our frequency?
Indeed, but we're also adding our own frequencies with our own technology, right? It's going to affect us, and we're really part of the experiment to see how it's going to affect us. Now, a lot of the radio waves obviously are weak, and it just gets absorbed into your dead top layer of your skin, but obviously when you've got a phone right close to your skin or head, that's when you're talking on it, is when it's broadcasting the maximum power output to the antenna on the phone, which is going to be absorbed way below your skin level into your flesh. So that's why maybe you shouldn't live on a phone. Mine's always like 2 meters away from me, unless I'm out and about, then that's when I wear it. But apart from that, I've got a smartwatch phone type thing, which is a whole device. It doesn't connect to another device. It simply just puts a SIM card on it, and it's a watch phone, a bit like Get Smart. So yeah, this phone is better, really. That's why I prefer not to even use Wi-Fi in the house. I prefer to have it cabled. But Mum uses her tablets and stuff in the house, and other people that come to visit want access to the internet and so on. Wi-Fi just makes it a lot easier, right? So everybody connecting into a cable into a wall socket.
Evolution has not always been an easy process, but the energy behind it - the energy of the unified field - is always moving towards greater degrees of organization and wholeness, both within and without. If the Earth's electromagnetic field is raising, then shouldn't that allow our brain to be able to pick up greater frequencies that are even higher than the stressed state of high beta brain waves? If so, is there a range of brain frequencies above the scale of high beta brain waves that hyphen, instead of being associated with a brain that is over-aroused and imbalanced, hyphen is associated with a brain that is more aware, conscious, and creative?
So there you go. So it might be something to think about until people get sick and they can prove it's the smartphones or wind farms or whatever creating these resonances that create infrasound and ultrasound that you don't hear but your body feels. That was a great read. I don't know how the Schumann resonance was established and how it was measured. 36 Hertz seems like a big jump. Yeah. Up and away. There has been a huge spikes beyond 40 Hertz. Stop this tech. What are they talking about here? 5G. 5G with maybe 20,000 satellites. Also, haven't read the discussion before. Stop the tech, modify the tech to mitigate its disastrous mental and physical effects. But 5G, I think it's just, you know how they started off with 1G and 2G, and they just improved how they transmit data over radio. They just created more bands, so it's transmitted across more bands. So it's increasing the amount of radiation it's transmitting, obviously. So if you've got it next to your head all the time, you've got more bands, you've got more chances of it destroying cells that are not dead cells and penetrating the body. I'm pretty sure if you got all this when you're sleeping, it's going to impact on you. It may not be obvious, but over time it might be. This 5G is completely unnecessary. Well, it depends if you want to get faster and faster on the go video, of course, and also transmitting. You know, a lot of people use their smartphones now to transmit to live streams as they're walking along or driving a car. Okay, someone's talking about HARP here. So it's going to create a bit of a conspiracy, obviously, but obviously it needs to be researched more. Because we're talking about not really high outputs. We're not talking about that's transmitting heaps of energy, just more bands. I think it's going to be affecting our kids more, you know. That's definitely not why you put a phone under your pillow. Or turn the radio signal, turn it off if you're going to put it. I suppose people like to get woken up, you know, for medical reasons and whatnot, or someone wants to phone you up for your job. But there's no reason why you can't put it a couple of meters away from your bed at least. So we got this news article coming out here, which is quite interesting. I'll just post the link there. No one's chatting to me anymore. Anybody out there falling asleep? Did it get too technical? So I've mixed in some UFO stuff with some camera technology and now some science. People run away. So we got the SpaceX article here. So this is not like the live streams that Robert and I do together, obviously. This is more for people that want to look at UFO videos and analyze them with me, and also question science and see what else has been found in science out on Sundays. But also, if anyone out there wants to join our Discord, can come on the side chat sometime and talk about their UFO contactees or experiences or sightings, or talk about video that they captured or whatever. It's all open. You just have to come and start talking to us, build up some trust, and then we can put you on the live stream and you can talk or be on video or whatever. So what's this about here? SpaceX launches 60 Starlink satellites. So we're just talking about resonant frequencies, and here we got another 60 satellites. See threat to astronomy itself. Okay, so I suppose we'll start reading out some of it. This is from the New York Times, you can read.
As SpaceX launches 60 Starlink satellites, scientists see threat to astronomy itself. Various companies are pressing ahead with plans for internet service from space, which has prompted astronomers to voice concerns about the impact on research from telescopes on Earth. A view of SpaceX's Starlink satellites just before being deployed on May the 24th. The company is scheduled to launch 60 more on Monday morning. Credit: SpaceX by Shannon Hall, November the 11th, 2019, 389 on Monday morning. SpaceX launched one of its reusable rockets from Cape Canaveral, Florida, carrying 60 satellites into space at once. It was the second payload of Starlink, its planned constellation of tens of thousands of orbiting transmitters to beam internet service across the globe. Successful deployment of 60 Starlink satellites confirmed. pig.twitter.com/bpbq09OYR3, SpaceX, at SpaceX, November the 11th, 2019, when SpaceX, the private rocket company founded by Elon Musk, launched the first batch of Starlink orbiters in May. Many astronomers were surprised to see that the satellites were extremely bright, causing them to fear that the constellation would wreak havoc on scientific research and transform our view of the stars. Since then, many scientists have been on a mission to better quantify the impacts of Starlink and to share their concerns with SpaceX.
SpaceX. Sounds like some fabric. So yeah, what they're saying is how many of these satellites they're going to keep putting up there. It's going to start blocking the view, isn't it? So sounds like these beachfront houses, where someone starts building stuff and they complain. Builds a house or a 2-story house in front of their view or something. But yeah, you get all that stuff out there, it's going to get really busy in space. So I wonder how much money he's going to make from 60 of these satellites though. Who's charging for it, maintaining them? So we'll read out the rest of it here. He's talking about 30,000, is it? That's just crazy. Well, that'll do down to there. Dr. Tyson. So he's not too happy about it then.
In October, Mr. Musk announced that he was using Twitter via Starlink internet connection, as his company was requesting permission from the Federal Communications Commission to operate as many as 30,000 satellites on top of the 12,000 already approved. Should SpaceX succeed in sending this many satellites to low Earth orbit, its constellation would contain more than 8 times as many satellites as the total number currently in orbit. That move added to the worries of many astronomers. When James Lowenthal, an astronomer at Smith College, first saw the train of Starlink satellites marching like false stars across the night sky in the spring, he knew something had shifted. "I felt as if life as an astronomer and a lover of the night sky would never be the same," he said. Video a constellation of Starlink satellites seen in the night sky over the Netherlands, nearly 24 hours after being launched by SpaceX in May. Credit. by Marco Lang broke via Reuters. Most of the first Starlink nodes have since moved to higher orbits and are now invisible for most of us who live under bright city lights. But they are still noticeable from places with dark skies. If thousands more of these satellites are launched, Dr. Lowenthal said he feared it would look as if the whole sky is crawling with stars. Advertisement. Continue reading the main story. Since May, the American Astronomical Society has convened an ad hoc committee with Dr. Lowenthal and other experts to discuss their concerns with SpaceX representatives once a month. At the same time, SpaceX has been working directly with the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, a federally funded research center that operates facilities across the world, to jointly minimize potential impacts of Starlink satellites on radio wavelengths that astronomers use. But these conversations did not focus on light pollution, a problem presented by the reflective surfaces of proposed satellite constellations such as Starlink. At first, SpaceX said the complication would be minimal, and the new committee is trying to assess the impact and actively find solutions. So far, they've been quite open and generous with their data, Dr. Lowenthal said. But they have not made any promises. A spokeswoman from SpaceX said the company was taking steps to paint the Earth-facing bases of the satellites black to reduce their reflectiveness. But Anthony Tyson, an astronomer at the University of California, Davis, said that wouldn't solve the problem.
Yeah, because black satellites will be blocking the light from the distant stars that they're trying to view. But how many of these things have already been reported as UFOs in the sky now? There's a lot of people with thermal cameras out there with their UFO channels that upload these pictures. So some of this is going to be new sightings of these things marching across the sky, as they say. 30,000 satellites above the world connecting for internet. Yeah. Why? Why do we need that, though? Because it's working alright as it is at the moment, doesn't it? Kind of strange. I suppose you'd have to offer Russia and all that the internet as well, wouldn't you? All countries, because it'd be over above them as well. So yeah, SpaceX we got done. That will do for now. Right, so this is another interesting thing that's come out about the Navy's false UFO fleets. And I have got an article here as well from the War Zone. The Navy's secretive and revolutionary program to project false fleets from drone swarms. You remember how I was talking about the G-forces of Tic Tac a few live Sundays back? And I said the only way that they could create a false image on the radar would be multiple swarms of drones that had the capability of cloaking from visible light as well as radar. And if they switched on and off in a synchronized manner, it would appear as one object was moving super fast away from them or heading down towards them to create false targets, right, for their weapon systems. And here someone's found out about a project called Nemesis. So it could be the Tic Tac thing be more disinformation to cover up this program that they were experimenting with back in 2004, using first generation hypersonic drones, you know, because they're normally like 20 years ahead, right? You often hear them say that. So yes, it's very possible, right? So as you can see, it's quite a lengthy article here, but I'll just get a Jason McCullin to read out his little summary here, which he did actually a good job of it, and I'll give a little plug to him. And I asked permission on whether I could use it. Oh, what's happening here? I want to open to a tab. Why is it not doing that? Get that back in. Okay, so this is his channel.
And welcome to
Rogue Planet TV. I'll just post a link to it. So we're talking about drone swarms with some advanced technology. And they go underwater too, which is, it all sort of starts to fit now. So what we thought was the best evidence, maybe just false flag again. Disclosure is not coming. So I'll just speed them up a wee bit anyway, because we don't probably play most of it.
It's highly likely that, if you've been following UFO-related news, you've noticed a seemingly singular focus in the world of UFOs on those 3 Navy UFO videos that were brought to the world's attention by Luis Elizondo and To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science all the way back in December of 2017. In case you're not keeping track, this is 2019, nearing the end of 2019 to be specific. So, has there really been nothing else UFO-related worth discussing for nearly 2 years besides these 3 videos? Well, hopefully you already know the answer to that question. The answer is, of course, there has been. As I routinely state, UFO-related stories are covered by media outlets around the world every day. So, why are the Tic Tac, Gimbal, and Go Fast UFO videos still generating headlines today and garnering so much attention? Well, first, the fact that these videos are sourced from the US military is a big reason. Knowing that these videos come from Navy fighter pilots rather than some random guy in the middle of nowhere makes them more credible to most people. And because we reportedly have supplemental and corroborating radar evidence and eyewitness testimony from military personnel, these videos collectively make a truly fascinating case. But most of the credit for the long-lasting, high-profile attention on these videos goes to the Stars Academy itself. TTSA has created a powerful vehicle for generating stories. Because its founder, Tom DeLonge, is a rock star, his star power gives the company the ability to choose when and where it wants certain stories published. There are plenty of reasons to continue discussing these videos. In my opinion, these 3 UFO videos do merit ongoing discourse. But why specifically am I bringing these videos up again today? I'm glad you asked. I've repeatedly stated my personal opinion, yes, just my opinion, that the objects we see in these Navy UFO videos are not extraterrestrial in nature, but rather some new technology being tested by the Navy. We've mentioned a few items on this show in the past, like admirals aboard ships involved with these incidents seemingly unfazed by the encounters, carefully crafted, non-committal answers by Navy spokespeople, and testimony from one of the primary participants, Commander David Fravor, who has stated in multiple interviews, including his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, that his bosses aboard the ship were surprisingly uninterested. According to Fravor, there are lots of false stories out there about people being questioned, tapes being confiscated, etc. But according to Fravor, none of that happened. Very little, if anything, was made of the pilot encounters with UFOs at the time. We also know that, according to those involved, the Navy was fully aware that these mysterious aerial objects were in the area, yet didn't cancel training exercises or even notify its pilots. These are just a few of the interesting details that lead me to believe the Navy knows what those UFOs are. But why do I think that just because the Navy might know the identity of the objects captured in the UFO videos, that these aren't ET spacecraft? Well, it's certainly not because I don't think that some of the UFOs seen in the skies around the world every day could be extraterrestrial. I'm even happy to entertain the possibility that some of the UFOs I personally witnessed could be extraterrestrial. But when it comes to the Navy UFO videos, everything just points to new Navy technology to me.
Yeah, that's what
I think the
always
first
said
thing
too.
that got me thinking along these lines was the fact that both the East Coast and West Coast incidents that are captured on these videos took place during training exercises. That seemed pretty coincidental. Then the comments from Navy personnel about how these UFOs followed the fleet for months only amplified my suspicions. And here's the real reason I'm bringing this up today. On Thursday, November 7th, Brett Tingley published a story on thedrive.com titled "The Navy's Secretive and Revolutionary Program to Project False Fleets from Drone Swarms." Wait, what? Okay, this story definitely got my attention. We know that during both the East Coast and West Coast incidents, Navy personnel reported seeing fleets of UFOs on the radar systems. And now we're hearing about Navy technology that can fool people and systems into thinking that a fleet of objects is present when, in fact, there's nothing there at all. According to the story, this new secretive electronic warfare system is called the Netted Emulation of Multi-Element Signature Against Integrated Sensors, or the much easier acronym Nemesis. The article explains, quote, "For years, the Navy has been developing and integrating multiple types of unmanned vehicles, shipboard and submarine systems, countermeasures, and electronic warfare payloads and communication technologies to give it the ability to project what is, in essence, phantom fleets of aircraft, ships, and submarines. These realistic-looking false signatures and decoys have the ability to appear seamlessly across disparate and geographically separate enemy sensor systems located both above and below the ocean's surface. As a result, this networked and cooperative electronic warfare concept brings an unprecedented level of guileful fidelity to the fight. It's not just about disrupting the enemy's capabilities or confusing them at a command and control level, but also about making their sensors tell them the same falsehoods across large swaths of the battlespace." End quote. The article points to a 2017 Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessments, or CSBA, white paper titled "Winning in the Gray Zone: Using Electromagnetic Warfare to Regain Escalation Dominance." This white paper describes fleets of expendable unmanned aerial systems that, quote, "incorporate cognitive processing and coordinate their actions through communication networks," end quote. Brett Tingley, again the author of the article on thedrive.com, explains that this means, quote, "They can share data in real time and operate semi-autonomously to jam an adversary's sensor, act as or release decoys, gather targeting information, and detect and map air defense networks," end quote. This is pretty wild, high-tech, futuristic stuff. Tingley further adds, quote, "Aside from providing fire and communication support, the Nemesis system was said to be capable of creating viable false targets that would increase the number of potential targets an adversary would have to engage. These false targets would mimic the RF emissions and radar returns of real platforms and include infrared decoys and concepts and capabilities to simulate the computer network activity of deployed forces," end quote. This is also really interesting. He says that the Nemesis system also included underwater high-fidelity acoustic decoys that can generate additional targets. The article explains, quote, "These acoustic decoys can include radio emulators and simulate propeller noise or other propulsion systems, as well as specific equipment on surface ships and submarines," end quote. The Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessments white paper I mentioned described using small unmanned electronic warfare systems launched from either high-altitude balloons or undersea platforms, like submarines or unmanned underwater vehicles, to create these effects. We know that, at least in the case of the Tic Tac West Coast UFO incident, pilots reported seeing underwater disturbances and perhaps objects coming out of the water, as well as objects coming from extremely high altitudes. So that's fascinating to consider. Recent unclassified budget justification statements explain that it's during fleet experimentation and during focused field and laboratory tests that the capabilities of the Nemesis expendable decoys were demonstrated. According to the article, the Navy's 2015 program guide mentions that the Navy conducted a war game in 2015 to test the Nemesis system.
Look at that.
This is worth noting because, again, remember that the Tic Tac, Go Fast, and Gimbal videos are all from periods of fleet testing, war games, etc. It's a foregone conclusion that the military has advanced technology we don't know about. We're now hearing about this wild Nemesis system, but we only know bits and pieces about it. At the time of both training exercises during which the Navy UFO videos were captured, brand new, state-of-the-art radar equipment was being used. However, based on the reported capabilities of its advanced electronic warfare system, the Navy currently has the ability to project false fleets in both the air and sea, and actively jam, control, and give false information to radar systems. The reported capabilities of Nemesis could conceivably explain many of the logic-defying elements experienced and reported during both the East Coast and West Coast Navy UFO events. Many, but not all. First of all, development of Nemesis reportedly began in 2014. The East Coast incident, or incidents, in question reportedly occurred in 2015. And remember, as I mentioned, the Navy claims it tested Nemesis systems during a war game in 2015. However, the Tic Tac video from the West Coast incident reportedly occurred in 2004. Then, there's the issue of eyewitness testimony. These UFOs weren't just seen on radar and gun cameras. Pilots reportedly witnessed these things with their eyes. Yes, Nemesis seems to utilize physical unmanned vehicles to perform its trickery, but we don't know the flight capabilities of these craft, or even the full capabilities of Nemesis for that matter. It's conceivable that the system is capable of using projection technology to visually display false craft as well.
Holographic
Spoofing is the name of the
decoy.
game, and the goal is to create as much confusion as possible. Nemesis is just another piece of the puzzle. It's one more possibility we could consider when trying to make sense of the Navy UFO videos or any other UFO case. And it certainly doesn't mean we discount the possibility that what is actually in those videos is something far stranger. But it definitely behooves responsible UFO researchers to be aware of existing human technologies that could potentially offer explanations for something that's seemingly otherworldly.
So there you go. You did a good job of summarizing that massive page that we were looking at. So that's Rogue Planet TV with the ex-people from Open Minds, Jason McCullin, and he normally has that girl with her. What's her name? He hasn't got her on this one though, but she's on other episodes with him. Can't remember what her name, Ellsbury, something like that. Go and check out his channel there. The link's there anyway. He does good summaries anyway. He hasn't got many subs at the moment, I don't think. Let's see, 335. So I said I'll give him a bit of a plug on my channel. So if you sub to him, say you come from the Out There channel. Isn't that what Tyler normally says? Give some credit. Yeah, so he's got a few videos up there. If you click on there, in the video tab, you can do this on any channel, and you can see all the different videos that he's put up here. So they're various sizes, obviously. Some at 40 minutes there, hour. But those with 10-minute attention spans obviously won't like that channel. Well, he's got some just over 10 minutes there, so they might be able to cope with those ones. So yeah, people laughed at me when I was talking about holographic decoys. You remember Mick Rest attacked me saying that they weren't working on that sort of stuff, which is untrue. They had holographic tank images reported by an ex-friend of mine back in the 70s, and that was a static image. Now they're doing full real time, and the computer speeds are up speed, and it's scaled down, of course. It could be handheld and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, interesting stuff. So does that mean that the Tic Tac may not be UFO after all, and the G-forces don't really matter anymore because they got supersonic drones that can cloak and project holographic images and all sorts of stuff like that. This sort of makes it a bit more complicated for us to get to the truth whether UFOs are real or not. So, but some of us have had abductions, so you definitely know for sure and that the aliens are coming here, even if though they're doing it secretly, and maybe our government can't stop them, which is more the case. But with this drones and this new technology they're working on, maybe they can now. Because we just looked at that pyramid UFO case at the start of the stream, where they said 2 Black Hawks, military hawks, started chasing after it. So it must have been able to be picked up, detected. And tentacles coming down sucking up water, that sign kind of suggests that most life does need water, Yeah, maybe that's why UFOs are coming here. They're still in our water slowly. Eventually we'll have none left, and they've probably transported it to their own planet or something. That sounds like another good sci-fi movie plot, doesn't it? How to stop them taking our resources. I think there was some sci-fi movie with Tom Cruise, was it? Was it Tom Cruise? Can't remember what it was called now, where he's flying in the sky and they fly down to the surface of the Earth, and it's got these big alien craft that are sort of beaming up water and all sorts of other minerals from the Earth, using the gimbal camera that makes jets and other drones look exactly like the same way. Well, the white thing across the Go Fast one looked like a white drone, didn't it? And the other thermal ones, well, if you can mask electromagnetic radiation, right? They've already got, as I've talked about in probably live stream 20 or something like that. I was talking about cloaking technology that they've been developed. They've actually got clothing for troops that makes you go like a Terminator. There was a video I showed on that on one of those live streams where the guy's running across the field. You can hardly see him. You could just barely make him out, and then he jumps onto the tank, and then he becomes more visible against the heat of the tank. IR light, or thermal light. And that was years old now. We're talking about 2000s, you know, and it was Israeli technology. And then you got cloaking tanks, and they can change the heat signature so it looks like a Jeep, not a tank. So if they could do that back then, they definitely can have skins on drones to represent any thermal signature they want. So they can make it look like a passenger jet, you know, a distant passenger jet. So that sort of makes it a bit more complicated to prove that UFOs are real and aliens are here. If the technology has advanced that much now. So I did post it on here with various links as well, and I talk about what I just talked about here about the scenario I put forward in those two lives there. I actually might just post a link to Twitter there. If you're not on Twitter, you probably should be, because it's way better than Facebook for this sort of thing. There's a lot of UFO stuff on there. Chat, Twitter. And of course, I do post a lot of stuff to the Discord group as well. But I'm in the process of cleaning out some dead accounts. People just ain't using it. And it's just really me that's doing all the posting, and also the Facebook group. No one's joining the Facebook group, which is strange. So we post up all this sort of stuff as well, and then I present it in live the best I can. But there's no way you can read all that all out on a live stream. It'd be just too tedious. So I'm just trying to make out what the picture was here. Distributed functionality. So they're using these decoys all over the place, so they can fly a plane amongst it, and they don't know which one's the real plane. But we knew they were doing that sort of stuff. We had an idea they'd be doing that sort of stuff. And they do it with holographic technology too, you know, not just radar cloaking. So that moves us on to, I could do that one another time maybe. How are we going for time? Almost coming up to 3 hours, unbelievable. And then we got the meta materials there with Linda Moulton Howe. And then we got this Harold. I might just talk about him next, because this Harold guy, I'll just see if I can bring up a wiki on him. I should have had a wiki there. I'm not sure why it's disappeared. I think my browser might have crashed and lost it. Is that the one? Yeah, that sounds like him. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to zoom the font. Well, this guy is the one that worked with Tom DeLonge to set up To the Stars. Puthoff. Harold Puthoff. There you go, it tells you there in the Wikipedia. I'll just get to read out some of it. Probably going to read out those bits, but it doesn't matter. I'll try the American voice this time. He's
Harold
pretty
E
old.
Puthoff, born June 20th, 1936, is an American engineer and parapsychologist. One in the 2010 seconds, he co-founded the entertainment, science and aerospace company To the Stars with Tom DeLonge. Contents: 1 biography, 2 assessment of scholarship, 3 publications, 4 references, 5 further reading, 6 external links. Biography edit. In 1967, Puthoff earned a Ph.D. in electrical engineering from Stanford University. 123. He then worked with, and invented, tunable lasers and electron beam devices, concerning which he holds patents, and he is co-author, with R. Pantel, of Fundamentals of Quantum Electronics, Wiley, 1969, published in English, French, Russian and Chinese. Puthoff published papers on polarizable vacuum, PV, and stochastic electrodynamics topics, which are examples of alternative approaches to general relativity and quantum mechanics. Puthoff took an interest in the Church of Scientology in the late 1960s and reached what was then the top OT7 level by 1971. 3. Puthoff wrote up his wins for a Scientology publication, claiming to have achieved remote viewing abilities. 4. In 1974, Puthoff also wrote a piece for Scientologist Celebrity magazine, stating that Scientology had given him a feeling of absolute fearlessness. 5. Puthoff severed all connection with Scientology in the late 1970s. 6. In the 70s, in single quote 80 seconds, Puthoff directed a CIA/DIA-funded program at SRI International to investigate paranormal abilities.
Bingo too.
Collaborating with Russell Targ in a study of the purported psychic abilities of Uri Geller, Ingo Swann, Pat Price, Joseph McMoneagle and others, as part of the Stargate project. Both Puthoff and Targ became convinced Geller and Swann had genuine psychic powers. 7. However, Geller employed sleight of hand tricks. 8. In 1985, Puthoff founded a for-profit company, Earth Tech International in Austin, TX. At about the same time, he founded an academically oriented scientific research organization, Institute for Advanced Studies at Austin, ISAC, also in Austin, TX, where he is director. 9. Independent of the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, NJ, ISAC pursues more focused research on topics specifically related to energy generation and space propulsion, with funding from anonymous donors. Puthoff and Earth Tech were granted a United States patent 5,845,220 in 1998 after 5 years delay. The claims were disputed that information could be transmitted through distance using a modulated potential with no electric or magnetic field components. The case is used for educational purposes in Patent Law 11. As an example of a valid patent where, the lesson of the Puthoff patent is that in a world where both types of patents are more and more common, even a competent examiner may fail to distinguish innovation from pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience. So there's a couple of red flags there, wasn't there, about this scientist with To the Stars, is what I'm pointing out here. And of course, he's made these claims that he's invented stuff here, but a patent doesn't mean that it actually works, or actually, as they said down the bottom there, of pseudoscience. They're using the patent as training into spotting difference between real science and pseudoscience. So yeah, I'm not too sure on the tunable lasers and electron beam devices that he worked on there, but it looks like he didn't do it alone, right? He worked with other people. Talks about co-authored Fundamentals of Quantum Electronics, published in English. So even a lot of people say quantum mechanics is a lot of it's pseudoscience in its own right, and they don't even understand a lot of the stuff that's going on themselves in science in the field. But also here is a red flag of Scientology. So he got up to level 7. I'm not sure what Tom Cruise is, but someone that used to be part of Scientology obviously, how can you say that he's a scientist if he's part of a church like that? This puts his reputation online. But you hear on the UFO channels all plugging him. It's like he's a great scientist and work in the field of warp drives and all this sort of stuff, right? This sort of stuff you don't get to hear about. The other side of the coin is why I do this, to point it out to people. So also there, he's worked with, directed a CIA and defense, DIA and defense. What's that stand for? Intelligence. Which is, again, we've got another CIA person inside leaking the so-called tic-tac information with Tom DeLonge. You can see there's been a lot of talk lately from Black Vault and stuff. Is it really a sophisticated disinformation campaign? And they just use Tom DeLonge as the mouthpiece to bring everybody in the UFO field into it. It's looking more and more like that, especially now with this Nemesis that's come to light. So what's happened now is we're still no better known whether that was real UFOs now or some sort of swarm drone project that they were mucking around with back in 2004 and have been sort of messing around with it since up to 2015. DARPA and all that sort of stuff. We never had on the interview with DARPA saying it wasn't them, right? We had other people from Lockheed Martin, but never DARPA. Maybe it's still classified, but obviously now it's out in the public. So what happens? The Russians now don't know what's going on. They first hear it's UFOs, and now this comes out about the Nemesis. They don't know what to think is true or not, the same as we don't. So yeah, it's all part of the disinformation stuff. Now, has that got the Russians and Chinese scared that they've got this high technology where it can confuse the targeting computers on the ships and planes? So yeah. So I did a search on this guy's patents, which is what this one was. Google has all the patents stored. It used to be patents.google.com, I think, but now it uses like a search query. Looks like it hasn't put it there, has it? Does it actually paste the link? Or was it searched? Yeah, there was a link. How do we get the link showing up again? But it puts some characters on the end of a normal Google search, and it just tells it to search the patents, and you just type the name of the person, and so it finds it here. I think it's about 8 of them, is it? Let's have a look. So the first one was talking about communication methods and apparatus with signals comprising blah blah blah, not using electromagnetic fields, which sounds pseudo-sciencey. I suppose it's like saying a light beam going down a fiber optic, but that's still using electromagnetic, because light is part of the spectrum, right? Radio spectrum. So here's a patent with some diagrams. I don't know if you can get it any bigger. I suppose you have to save it. With these diagrams. So as you can see, a patent is not step by step of pictures of the final prototype built. It's just like a block diagram. It has these components. These are the claims it makes. So I asked my mate what he thought of this particular one, and he said He said it'd take 2 hours to explain it, but he said it's BS. That's basically what he said. He's got electronics as well, degrees and whatnot. But yeah. How do we get search link? I think I typed in patents Google, and it gives you that link there. So what you have to do, and then you can just type in the person's name. You'd think it would be like a tab, like these ones here. You'd think it would be like one called patents, so you can just find it straight away. But yeah, it comes in quite handy. You can search like Tesla stuff. You probably have to type his full name in. McCullin. Tesla. I think he's got like 300 patents, this guy. Let's see what it comes up with. I didn't click the link, did I? Better click the link first. I think it puts something on the end. If you have a look now, puts that question mark TBM equals PTS, which stands for patents. So it's like the normal search engine, but it's not. So now if we type in Nikola Tesla, should only get the patents. There you go, look. Does it tell us how many there are? 3,000? Surely not. I suppose a lot of people would use part of his name in their patents as well, maybe. Referencing them. I suppose you'd have to put quotes around his name or something to narrow it down. But they do look like Nikola Tesla stuff. I don't think he would have done 3,000, surely. I'm pretty sure you'd have a lot of fun going through there and reading out all the reading out what's been done. Whether there's some really good ones amongst that. You could even search for UFOs, I guess. I don't know if that will come up. Now we've got a UFO toy patent. Fighting UFOs. So it sounds like toys. Waterborne UFO toy. A lot of Japanese stuff. I mean Chinese ones here. Peachtree named UFO. Alien UFO saucer controller. So how many of those are there? 8,000. Let's see what's levitation. See what comes up. Air vehicle and levitation system for air vehicle. 116,000 results on levitation. Electromagnetic levitation system for doors. Looks like that scared a few people off. We had 4 watching there for a time. So yeah, that'll be something to go through all these and find some really good ones probably. Superconducting, magnetic levitation. I suppose if you type free energy, they probably wouldn't get a patent with free energy though. They'd have to word it differently. How, I don't know. But I don't think free energy will come up. Because everyone says it's impossible. It's given 4 million results though. But how come? Carbon free energy. I suppose that one's allowed. Refrigerating system using free energy. Well, maybe it's not a banned word then. Anyway, moving away from what I was talking about. So back to this guy. I think his laser ones here. Plasma drive, pulse plasma drive. So this is possible, as I've talked about ion plasma engines before, where it sucks in normal air from the planet's atmosphere, charges it with energy using nuclear power cells, and shoots it at the back. So you don't have to have rocket fuel or petroleum gas on the craft. Yeah, you just need some sort of high voltage system battery, which obviously would have to be like a nuclear battery, I guess. So this could be what they're using on these drones, is another thing I'm pointing out here, which is why they might be getting incredible speed. Where are you going? Bedtime, is it? Yeah, up in 2 hours, but I'll be watching the rest in life. Yeah, I haven't got too much left to do. In fact, I might even cover the last couple of topics, probably rounding up now. Let's see, what did I have left to do? The school UFOs I was going to talk about. I think that's the only thing. Linda Moulton Howe. Talking about her claims in this video I was going to point out. Might leave that for another Sunday. It still connects to the star stuff though, so maybe I don't think I can do it now. 3 hours. So yeah, good night, Shelley or Ellie, or both of yous. We'll be down to one watching now anyway. But yeah, we'll go on Linda Moulton Howe next time, and some of the claims about this strange alloy that they're testing, and my problems with what she's saying there, and school UFO encounters. So we've got plasma drive, just finished up. Oh, here we go. Tunable Raman laser. Consisting of a optical cavity, Raman type material, which is infrared active, a pump source, control the frequency of the output. So to me it looks like he was doing experiments. Whether it was funded by the government, I don't know. It doesn't say there, does it? But it's bound to be, isn't it? Patent inventors Richard H. Patel. So him and another guy. So how much of it did he invent? And then what else we got here? There's a lot of blurb and legal stuff, isn't there? Frequency, talking about how it works. Man, it goes on a bit. So I guess if someone uses that in their technology and their device, I suppose he gets royalties, doesn't he? That's how it normally works. Come on, something going on here. Glitching. Piezoelectric ZPE coupled motor. 0 point energy, so he's into the free energy here. A theory formerly known as strings by Michael Duff. Scientific American. Quantum fluctuations in empty space. So again, this also links into the stuff Tesla was doing, right? And he didn't like quantum, the idea of quantum. He was thought everything was normal science and had normal explanations, and the quantum field sort of tips it up on its end. Similar to emission of radiation, sound, recording and reproduction system for model train. So that's probably playing the train sound effects. Maybe as a model, the futurist playing toot toot, plasma pulse drive, electric motor, which we looked at. Electrical energy converter of creating electrical energy. That sounds like free energy again. 0 point. Inertia propulsion device to move an object up and down. Might have to look at that one. Method and apparatus for quantum vortex implosion propulsion. So that sounds very similar to Victor Scheisberger that I talked about in past live streams. I've got an episode called Victor Scheisberger and the Ghost Rocket, and this sounds very similar to where he's got the idea, and of course he's talking about 0 point fields here. So this, again, people would class as pseudoscience, but there may be something in it. Now that one there looks like a gyroscope, right? Up and down movement. I'm not sure. Let's have a look anyway. Don't think there's too many people out there watching now, but that's alright. Inertia propulsion device to move an object up and down. Disclosed herein are two separate processes that do not require a propellant and do not produce an equal and opposite reaction, which breaks the laws of our normal physics, right? He's saying it does not violate the natural laws. First process produces horizontal motion, relies on the Earth's gravitational field, and has been successfully tested. Looks like those gyroscopes where they're talking about momentum, right? Well, the Earth is spinning, right? So there must be a way that you can get stuff to spin around. Using trying to trap some of the Earth motion. Maybe that's what he's trying to do there. But yeah, kind of looks a bit suspect, doesn't it? Looks like those free energy devices a lot of people are knocking out. But I did a episode called and The Machine to Die For. And one of my episodes, I can't remember which one it was now, where I show you a clip from the documentary done by ABC, where this guy has something similar to this, and a railway, and like a little track that goes around, and it has a ball bearing that just keeps rotating around and around. And he reckons it's been doing that for years, and he has it locked away in this Wilkins bank safe that he's got in his, I don't know, house or whatever, garage. And they had a lot of experts look at it, and they reckon it's like 99.8 efficient, but it's going to gradually slow down. But he was using springs, magnets, and counter levers using gravity, and it did look very plausible. But where was the extra energy coming from? Was it from the Earth's inertia as it's spinning around? And then there was a guy that built a Ferris wheel using springs and counterweights, and the Ferris wheel just rotates around endlessly by itself by using these springs and counter levers. As it goes underneath, it triggers like a mechanical switch to change the direction of the mass of the bottle, and then it makes one side of the Ferris wheel heavier than the other side, so it naturally wants to tip so it rotates, which is meant to be impossible. You know, a lot of people say you can't do that, but this guy here, it was on camera. It was rotating around by itself, no motor or anything, and it's just using levers and magnets and counterweights and springs. Yeah, I'm not too sure what video I got that one on though, where you can go and watch the video, but I think you probably could search for it. It's called Machine to Die For. Let's see, here we go. So there's some videos up here. The Press for Free Energy. One of 5 parts, so somehow these guys have put it up but haven't been hit by copyright. I won't play it. I'll just pause it and I'll give you a link to it. Well worth watching. Better make sure it's the right one. Oh, here we go. This is the machine I was talking about, where it's rotating around. It talks about other ones beforehand though. Oh, that's the one. I think it's more in the second half, is it? There we go. It's in the second half, I mean the last half of this thing rotating around. And it's like an uneven track. And that's it, and the ball bearing just keeps on spinning around and around by itself, and he's got counterweights and levers underneath here, and it lowers the track just before the ball gets to it, which is kind of clever. This whole thing's really clever. And we got the Ferris wheel one here at the end here. It's got all these bottles and these little levers that touch the bottom that changes the angle of the bottom bottles on one side of the wheel as it's spinning around. Definitely again have to play it, so I can't play it because I'll probably get copyright slapped on it. Machine to Die For, did I type that in? So that sounds really similar to this Puthoff guy. So I probably should wrap it up there, shouldn't I? But I did talk about it here somewhere. I'm pretty sure as well. Some more early things. Some of it's talked about in the Tesla documentary here. So it could be how the UFOs hover. Not too sure. Google search for keywords and episodes is just useless, but anyway, it's better than nothing, but it's still useless. Well, since no one's watching or joining us, I'm not interested in this sort of stuff clearly, I'm just going to wrap it up and we'll talk about Linda Moulton next time. And the school UFOs, just to play a clip of that, talk about it, because me and Rob did a 3 live episode on the school encounters, and we didn't realise that there was a lot more out there that haven't actually been put up on the internet. They're hidden away in newspaper clippings and people's personal databases, and there's meant to be one also in New Zealand that happened with 400 witnesses, which I live in New Zealand. I've never heard of it. I've never heard it even repeated on TV, because I watched pretty much every UFO documentary that has come out, especially with New Zealand stuff in it. So we talk about that next time, and no doubt there's going to be a lot more to add to it. So apparently Robert's got a couple of good UFO cases to talk next time. We're thinking of splitting up his live into 2 parts. So Saturday will be pushed forwards and an hour. So more in USA that are getting up early can actually join in and watch it. And maybe do a midweek one where it's me getting up early in the morning. Well, early for me, and he will present it at his evening, so it'll be like 10 PM UK time. And so we'll do part 1 and part 2. I'm not sure if people will be happy with that, but we can give it a test. But Robert said he can't do it this week, so I'm not sure what he wants to change it up and see how it goes. But for now, we're just sticking to the usual time, but I'll push it on an hour. So it's back to lunchtime when we do his. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, liking, sharing, although we didn't get too many likes there. We will have a lot more interesting UFO stuff coming your way. Although there's a couple of good bits to today's stream as well. After we got past all the fake stuff, right? Okay, good night everybody. It works. Have to figure out that problem with the playback on video player next. Probably a reboot will fix it.